White. Wide open, Torrence! Oh, baby! Touchdown! How do you leave the best receiver in the NAIA that wide open?
You show, and that's what we do! Cat!
You're proud of me? And it's caught! Oh my goodness! Troy Torrence comes down with it!
Welcome all to NFL Bankroll Blitz right here on Pub Sports Radio. Week 9 is in the books, and it was another smash and grab. You were unbelievable. 18-3 plus 14.6 units. I was 9-3 plus 5.6 units. We've now crossed the 70-unit mark with single-unit bets. It's all coming together, man. It's all coming together. How are you?
Every week, I think about the opportunities we left on the table, or the last bet. You know, I'm heading into this week, despite only having 3 losses on the board last week. I'm heading into this week off a loss, so I'm ready to go, man.
I am as well. Let me just get this fixed here. Get this a little louder.
But it was just such a. I mean, so I actually should start the show by telling everybody I was boots on the ground at Steelers Colts game, which was just a beautiful thing. Watching that bet come to fruition over the 2-week period, 3-week period when we started talking about it, hammering it, winning outright. But then I had the long, grueling drive home. Usually, I would have watched like every game on NFL Sunday. I would be watching film after, during the afternoon games, and I'm just a little bit behind right now. But that means there's just more to talk about, so I'm ready to get into it.
Well, I have been thinking about nothing but NFL football for a while, so I'm ready to rock. And watching you work is being inspiring enough. We're running hot. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We got Old E, the Nuke Worker, Gerald Jones, Charlie Charms, Cheshire Cat, Sancho, WT, Flea Mathis, Swish, Dougie Wise in the house. Great to see you guys. It is time to get to work. Let's talk about the week that was. I only had 13 bets, one push. So I only had 12 bets in action. It was a much lower volume week. But it still was glorious. Carolina, Green Bay, first half under 22, cashed easily. Carolina, Green Bay, full game under 44.5, cashed easily. Houston, first half cashed. Houston, full game didn't. CJ Stroud, if he didn't get hurt, that would have cashed. I bought out of it. You know, that doesn't take long to watch Davis Mills play quarterback to know you got to buy out of your action.
That's also a problem. I didn't have that opportunity. That game popped up at noon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tough spot.
Yeah, it was a tough spot. You were live at the game.
They were 15-7 at half. I definitely would have made a move after watching Davis Mills, because that's actually a little bit of tape I was able to watch.
He looked terrible.
Yeah.
The New Orleans LA Rams first half under 22.5 was a loss. The full game under 44 pushed, and you cashed it because you got a 44.5. I didn't. I got a 44 and pushed it. Ravens double result cashed. Buffalo first half plus a half cashed. Buffalo full game plus 2.5 cashed. Giants plus 2.5 was a loss. That was my third loss. Minnesota Detroit first half over 23.5. Full game over 48.5 was very easy. Atlanta plus 6 also fit that script too. So it was a great week, 9-3 plus 5.6 units. Quickly take us through the week that was for you, my man.
So I had the Ravens double result on Thursday night. That was a winner. The Bears money line, what a crazy game that was. Looking at the box score, seeing a quarterback have 2 receptions and a touchdown always kind of shocks you. Steelers plus 3.5. Steelers Ravens teaser was 2 winners. Then we get the Texans money line. Texans -1. Lost there. 2 of my 3 losses. The Texans first half money line 1. Saints versus Rams under 44.5 was a winner. Doubled up on the Patriots Falcons over 45.5. Both of them were winners. Falcons plus 6 was a winner. I absolutely unloaded on the Bills first half money line, full game full game plus 1.5, and the Bills Ravens teaser. That was 4 winners. The Seahawks -3 was an easy winner. I went 4-0 on my props this week. Jonnu Smith over 21.5. That was a casher. Freiermuth over 19.5. I had so much time to plan this out. This is just everything coming to fruit. When you put in the work, this is proof that hard work pays off. Tyler Algier under 24.5, winner, and Marvin Harrison over 54.5 is a winner, and I don't have one right in front of me, but I know I have it on my record right there, Jimmy. Cowboys -3 was a loser to finish up the week.
Yes, a rare loser for you. Look, it's working. I don't want to talk too much about it. I'm just ready to get to work. Thank you guys so much for joining us. You ready to rock, my man?
Let's go, Jimmy.
Let's get to work. The capping has gotten longer as we've been winning more. That always happens with me. So I will try not to make this a 4-hour show.
But see, this is, you'd rather not make it a 4-hour show, but then you could always reference back to this conversation, the notes you took during this conversation. It helps you remember the thought process and building out. That's the best part about betting the NFL. You have a whole week to prepare. You let the narrative, you let the picture start to paint right in front of your very eyes.
It's exciting, and I enjoy it immensely. And your work this year is inspiring not just me, but all these cappers that we work with. So let's get to work. Thank you guys for joining us. We got AM, Turnsey, Kent Davies. Let's get to work. We start at 8:15 p.m. Eastern, Thursday, November 6th, 48 hours from now. The Las Vegas Raiders 2-6, 1-3 on the road to the Denver Broncos, 7-2, 4-0 at home. Empower Field at Mile High, Denver, Colorado, 55 Fahrenheit clear, 6-mile-per-hour winds. Let's get into the line history here for this one and the cash flow. First off, the Broncos are 9-point favorites. The look ahead was 10.5. It reemerges on Sunday night at 10, moves to 9.5, and then moves to 9. So it's let's call it a 1-point move, 1.5 off of the look ahead, but a 1-point move since it reemerged. From a total standpoint here, we have a 43. This opened up the look ahead was 42.5, and it reopened at 42. It's now a 43. It's gone up one solitary point. We get to the cash flow here. 69% of the tickets and 51% of the cash is on Denver. So there are bigger bets coming in on the Raiders, and the line is moving slightly or legitimately towards the Raiders. 56% of tickets on the over and 55% of cash on the under. Let's talk about the Raiders. Passing offense ranked 29th. Rushing offense ranked 30th. This is an ugly offense. Red zone offense ranked 29th. They score touchdowns 45.5% of the time. Third down offense ranked 11th. They convert 41.2% of the time. So they have a terrible offense and a terrible defense as well. Their pass defense is ranked 30th. Rush defense ranked 28th. Their red zone defense ranked 17th. Their third down defense is the third worst in the NFL. They allow the opposition to convert 46.7% of the time, and their pass rush is 24th in the NFL. They're coming off a tough 30-29 loss at home to the Jaguars. Noise canceled score was a 30-25 Raiders.
How are you like using that in your handicaps, Jimmy?
I enjoy it very much. It's very helpful. The additions. I felt like last year using yards and things of that nature to decipher whether a pass defense or a rush defense is good doesn't tell the whole story. Right. So I think it's helped my cap a lot, switching away from the rankings, that are the simple rankings that we grew up with for 25 years and using a more complicated system. And that system from Pro Football Focus, you got me on it, and it's helping a lot. Geno Smith was 29 for 39 for 284 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 pick. This offense looked so different with Brock Bowers out there. He returned from missing the previous 3 games with a knee injury. He caught 12 passes for 127 yards and 3 touchdowns. First player in NFL history to have 5 games with at least 10 catches in his first 2 seasons. He is the third Raiders tight end, the first since Todd Christensen back in 1983 with 3 touchdowns catches in a game. Gentry ran 13 times for 42 yards, caught 5 passes for 47 yards and a touchdown. The offense looked much stronger. The defense, though, couldn't keep the Jaguars off the field. The Jags were 12 of 19 on 3rd and 4th down, and it allowed them to dominate time of possession. The Jags had the ball for 42-57 compared to just 26-47 for the Raiders. Jags were 3 of 5 in the red zone. The 24th ranked pass rush was quiet. Max Crosby returned from injury. He had a sack, 3 tackles for a loss, and 1 quarterback hit, but no one else did anything. The only other Raider was Adam Butler. He got a hit on Trevor Lawrence, not a sack, but he at least touched him. Polamau had an interception, and the Raiders are as healthy as they've been all season long, and I think that might be part of this 1-point move towards them. Let's talk about the Broncos. Their passing offense ranked 18th. Rushing offense ranked 9th. Their passing offense is a problem. Last year, they had the worst tight end group in the NFL. Now they brought in 41-year-old Mercedes Lewis to try to help this tight end group. It's a real problem for them. Red zone offense 8th. Third down offense 19th. Broncos pass defense is 16th. No Surtain. We thought this was going to be the no-fly zone part 2. It's not come to fruition. Rush defense ranked 3rd. Red zone defense, third down defense are 1st in the league. That's where they are extremely impressive. Red zone defense allowing touchdowns 34.8% of the time. We watched it against the Texans. Even when CJ Stroud was in there, they couldn't get into the end zone. Their third down defense, elite. They allow conversions just 28.2% of the time. Their pass rush ranked 10th. They come in off an 18-15 victory over the Texans. Noise canceled score was 17-17. 4-0 the Broncos are this year when trailing entering the fourth quarter. That is an incredible statistic. And I hope, some of you guys have been betting them alive. Bo Nix was 18 of 37 for 173 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He also ran 3 times for 36 yards. Dobbins ran 15 times for 61 yards and a touchdown. Now, we know the Texans defense is very, very good. But it was running back R.J. Harvey that led receivers with 5 catches for 51 yards and a touchdown. I mean, this offense did not look good against a very good defense. They'll look much better here against Vegas. Broncos were 6 of 15 on third down, 0 of 1 in the red zone. The pass rush was strong. 4 sacks and 7 quarterback hits. This is the 10th ranked pass rush in the league, and some believe it's much better than those stats. They also knocked CJ Stroud out of the game. A hard hit a minute into the second quarter, a hit that I thought was legal and fine. They held the Texans to just 3 of 17 on third down and 0 of 3 in the red zone. And Surtain's not coming back anytime soon. Pectoral strain. He's going to be out several games. Defensive back JT Gray left in the third quarter with a hamstring injury. He hasn't practiced this week and is listed as questionable. Here we go, Troy. Thursday night football, Raiders, Broncos. Take it away.
Nice job. Nice job kind of laying the foundation. I look at this Broncos team and I wonder to myself, how many times is this team going to land on red? They're betting red. They're landing on red. And it's hard to imagine that it's going to continue. I mean, obviously, the Texans, I might be a little bitter, maybe a little biased. But I believe that if CJ Stroud played that entire game, after watching what I did, Davis Mills, I would say that the Texans deserve to win that game. I think that we had a great read last week. The contrast between the Cowboys and the Broncos, or between the Cowboys and the Texans, is significant. And I feel like I've had a great read on this Broncos team, generally speaking. I cashed on them with the Bengals, cashed on them when they faded the Cowboys in that situation. I've also bet against them successfully with the Colts, the Chargers, and I think the Texans was a good bet. But they beat the Texans by 3, despite, Davis Mills playing quarterback. The Giants by 1 after a 30-point comeback in the fourth quarter. The Jets by 2 in a game where Fields threw for 45 yards. The Eagles by 4 that took a 14-point fourth quarter comeback. I'm kind of repeating myself over the past few weeks, but it's a pretty damn common theme. And then you look at them smacking down the Bengals, and you start to wonder, they won that game 28-3. The Bengals scored 3 points in that game. You remember who Jake Browning is? I'm pretty convinced now that he's the worst quarterback in NFL history. He has some of the best weapons. You see any competent quarterback step in and is able to deliver, productive offensive numbers, and he just couldn't do it. So I'm looking at that 28-3 thinking it's not very convincing at this point. 28 points against this Bengals defense, that wasn't impressive either. Bo Nix went 29 for 42 that game for 326 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. I think that was probably the best defensive performance the Bengals have had all season since the Browns game in week 1. Bo Nix is a guy I talk about every week that he's visibly shaken by defenses. Most of the time, it's like he might have an idea what's going on pre-flop, but as soon as that snap hits his hands, you could tell he looks visibly shaken. There's too many passes off target. And he's one of the worst passers from the play action all season long. It's a sign of either poor design, poor quarterback play, or not enough wide receiver separation. In all 3 of those cases, it's bad news for this Broncos offense. And the defense is good. I talked about them. Of course, they're going to see regression from what they were able to do last year. The defense is good, even without Surtain, but losing a lockdown cornerback, it changes the game plan completely. We actually seen that in the Broncos numbers, who cut their blitz rate from 45% to 25% this past week. It's somewhere around 45 to 50%. I believe, on the season. And where are the Broncos at? I'm going to have to pull those numbers in a minute. But, yeah, they blitz a lot. They reduce their blitz. It's because they don't have an island boy taking away one side of the field that you could just leave out there and not have any concern in the world. And the Broncos tackling numbers, they're starting to fall off quickly. At one point in the year, just a few weeks ago, they were 5th in tackling. Now they're 15th in tackling. Teams have found some success on the ground. The Giants, the Cowboys, the Eagles, Colts all ran the ball efficiently against this team. And I feel like with the Raiders next in line, with a look-ahead spot to KC, I feel like we got a good situation. Brock Bowers, if you're going to blitz, I believe Brock Bowers would be a perfect hot read. They don't have the island boy to lock up one side of the field, and even maybe Jake Bowers in this situation. I think that Geno Smith is a guy that I shit on continuously, and I don't want to make a case for him in this situation, but I do think that he is going to be more capable of covering a 10-point spread than the other big net numbers that they laid this season. And they couldn't cover versus the Titans. They have Bowers, Genty, guys like Lockett and Tucker who can still make plays. All it takes is a few successful drives and a few stops to cover this spread. And the defense isn't great. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's much better than the Bengals defense. They have Crosby. They have an undersized Jamal Adams who's absolutely balling out. And they have ability to play decent run defense. So you take the run game away from this Broncos team, I think things change pretty quickly. And if any of the numbers on the schedule for the Raiders that resembles the Broncos offense, I would say it's the Jaguars. And they actually, even though they couldn't get off the field, they were actually pretty stout down in the red area and the green area on their side of the field. They held them to 4.8 yards per play, 3.6 yards per carry. But now I'm going to summarize all of this because I love this spot situationally. It's not a bet that I'm overly confident in. I moved on the Raiders plus 10 at -115 on DK. I put it in Discord right away when I made the bet. Nobody's going to want the Raiders on the road versus the Broncos, which means immediately we should. And we're looking at a number short of 10. The Broncos are overpriced in the market. Do a resume check. Broncos have KC on deck, typically a look-ahead spot. And we've seen it all the time this season where the look-ahead spot gets hammered. And I think the market's signing off on this Raiders team. They're perceived as a team off a season-ending loss. They traded Jacoby Myers. If this weren't in prime time and against a divisional opponent, I would probably think about this situation differently. But because it's on prime time, off a loss against a divisional opponent, I think we're going to see effort. I think we're going to see Carroll, who's under fire, needs to get a win, needs to put up a good effort. I think the Raiders keep it close. So I moved on the plus 10. I'm honestly thinking about moving on it more. I think this could be an upset. I think the Raiders could win on the money line. And you need 80%, right? The implied odds are that the Broncos are winning this game 80% of the time. I think the Raiders are winning this game closer to 30% of the time. So I'm actually considering making a big move in this game. That's why I've been talking about it so much, because the more I add, the more I start to like it. Like we can get into the market, and it's a very rare market. Road dogs between 9 and 11, in division with a total less than 44.5 or 5-1 ATS. Divisional road dogs on prime time between 7.5 and 11 are 10-3 ATS, 77%, and they're undefeated if the line's moving their way. There's a lot of things that are adding up for me to move on the Raiders spot.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think that one thing that does kind of play or sort of take the uncomfort about the look ahead spot away is that they have 10, 11 days to prep. I think that if this was a Sunday and they had the Chiefs 7 days later, I think that would play more of a role than it's playing in my cap. I certainly don't think, that you're on the wrong side or anything like that. I, though, don't, the Jacoby Myers trade is being talked about, in the chat. And look, I think that this wide receiver room, that, they have Lockett back, not that he's going to matter much, but I think that they can still, especially with the attention that has to be placed on Brock Bowers, score some points. I'm an under better. I prefer betting unders. I find them easier to get to. I have 4 bets on this card, just 4, and they're 4 unders in just 2 games, first half and full game. I think that this beautiful weather here, which generally we don't always get. I mean, you never know what you're going to get at Mile High. 55 Fahrenheit, clear 6 mile per hour winds. The offense woke up last week. And if you have to be concerned about Geno Smith throwing the ball 40 times and almost for 300 yards, he threw 4 touchdowns, then maybe you can't fill the box and stop Genty. Drewski says Raiders won't score 20 points.
I mean, what do you think about what he said? Raiders trade. I want to hear your thought process when you see this. Are the Raiders giving up on the season? They don't want to win. They traded Jacoby Myers.
I don't agree with that at all.
I don't either. I mean, I look at their roster. You got Geno Smith, you got rookies and Jonty, you got young players. Bowers, you got Tucker who's trying to get a contract. He's a young player. You got 3 guys in their first 3 years on the offensive line. You flip it to the defensive line, and it's Crosby, Adams on prime time. Like, they're going to have their boys that side of the ball ready to play because it's prime time, divisional opponent. They just came off a loss, maybe, But I get it. They were on the field a ton. They got beat down. Like, I totally can make a case. I could see where the case is being made for the Broncos, and I think the number's short because of that.
And I wouldn't fight against that here, and I think the 10-9 is telling. But what I would do is I think this is too low of a total. I don't think that the Broncos, especially with Surtain out, are a lockdown. I mean, even with Surtain in this, the way this secondary is being ranked 16th pass defense. Now, look, I understand the red zone is a huge problem. The Raiders are going to have to score in the red zone, but this is low, 43. I'm pretty comfortable trying to get over it because, I mean, I don't think that now it's a tricky thing going through the Broncos home games. I don't think the Bengals is a good example because Jake Browning was at quarterback. The Broncos knew that there was no way they could hurt the Bengals, were incapable of hurting the Broncos. That's a little different here with Geno. Now, I know Geno's not as good outdoors and not as good on the road and take it away. But they came off the bye week. They put up 29 points. They were a 2-point convert away from winning. They have a little bit of hope. They're in a divisional battle. They know all eyes will be on them. They have a coach who's trying his hardest to change the direction of this football team. He's going all out. Jacoby Myers may have been a problem in the room. Remember, he was vocally asking for a trade for the last 3 weeks. I talked about it last week, that in the room, they're all smiles and having fun, and Jacoby Myers is still talking about wanting to be traded. So get him out of the room. Who cares what you get back? And will the Broncos need to put up points? When they had to put up points against the Giants, they did. When they had to put up points against the Cowboys, they did. They just played the bet, who I believe is the best defense in the NFL, in the Houston Texans, and they might have a field day here. I'm with G. I think this is too low, and I'm very interested in going over this. First half full game overs on Thursday Night Football. What do you think of the total?
I really like the thought of overs. It definitely it works in the market efficiency database too. We got this number ticking up to 42.5. We got the line moving towards the road dog. That's both 2 really good signs. I'm right there with you, Jimmy. I'm right there with you. We just
need the Raiders to be able to score on this number 1 red zone defense. That's all. And I can't count on that. But I can tell you, after watching the Texans, even with Stroud or Davis Mills at quarterback and Nico Collins back, I almost would rather have the Raiders offense in the red zone to take a shot at the Broncos than what I saw from the Texans. With Genty, with the ability to run the ball. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to be a first half over and a full game over. I did not plan on doing it, and that is what I'm going to do. I think that points can be scored, and this Broncos defense might have this Broncos offense might have some fun. They might be able to put up a bunch of points against this Raiders defense, especially after the steel curtain they just went up against. So Troy on the Raiders +10, and I will be moving on overs first half and full game here. Anything else you want to touch on for our Thursday nighter? Our live stream will be right here on Pub Sports Radio. Anything else you're looking for on this one as we move on?
Yes, I'm going to be looking towards an over as well. I don't know if it's going to be both teams, if it's just going to be the Raiders 16.5 at plus 100, 16.5. I'm going to be looking towards overs. It's
a nice number. Drewski says Vegas telling you Raiders won't score. Yes, they are, Drewski, and I expect this total to change. Remember what we've talked about is, can you use a statistical profile that you don't necessarily think is correct? And the Raiders have played 3 games to build this statistical profile without their superstar Brock Bowers. They finally get a game where, Geno throws 4 touchdown passes. I think the statistical profile for the Raiders offense is a little bit better than what we're seeing. 29th ranked passing, 30th ranked rushing, 29th ranked red zone. And I think that the Broncos are a little bit worse pass defensively without Surtain, and even with them, they were only ranked 16th. So I understand that is what Vegas is saying, and I'm thankful that they're saying that. And this total is moving up. There's 43s at the sharp books right now, and I imagine that it'll keep going up by the time we hit Thursday Night Football. So,
yeah. I think the Raiders are going to win this game.
Wow. So if it keeps moving, is there going to be a sprinkle on the money line, or?
Yeah, I'll probably be on the money line. I just want to make sure we're closing below the 10 with a clear move towards the Raiders below the 10, and no more trades. And the trade deadline's over now, correct? Yeah. So we didn't trade Crosby. Sorry, Jacoby Myers, get your ass out of Dodge.
Let's roll on. That's our Thursday night. We move on to Sunday to the Berlin game, the NFL Berlin game. And BJ has full agreement with the Raiders. We have the Atlanta Falcons 3-5 at the Indianapolis Colts 7-2 Olympic Stadium in Berlin, Germany. Weather's nice, 46 Fahrenheit, light rain, 1 mile per hour winds. It might not rain. It might rain a little bit, but there's no wind, which is not a concern. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Now, I've moved on this game here. This total is a 48 at some books. It's a 48.5 at others. This one, the look ahead was 48.5, and then it reopened yesterday just after midnight at so very early Monday morning, Sunday night at 48. Other books are still hanging 48.5s. One sharp book's hanging a 48.5. This sharp book had a 48.5, opened it on Sunday night at 48.5, and it's now a 48. Let's get into the line history here for this one. On the spread, we have Atlanta +6 at -107. The look ahead was 7. It then reemerged Sunday night at 6.5 actually, and quickly moved to 6 and the 5.5 back to 6. So this is moving towards Atlanta. We cashed on Atlanta last week. From a cash flow perspective, we have 54% of the tickets and 55% of the cash on the Falcons at this point. 66% of the tickets on the over and 56% of the cash on the over. Let's start with the Falcons. Their passing offense is ranked 28th. We know it's better than that, especially if Drake London and Penix are in the lineup. Rushing offense is 16th. It's been interesting watching Bijan Robinson struggle a bit over the last, or at least certainly last week. And it's not the first time we've seen that. We saw him struggle in San Francisco as well. He's a hell of a running back. Don't get me wrong. The red zone offense is ranked 22nd at 52.2%. Their third down offense is ranked 23rd at 36.4%. I believe that the Falcons are a little bit better than that statistical profile. Defensively, their pass defense is ranked 22nd. Their rush defense is ranked 25th. Their red zone defense is ranked 30th. They allow touchdowns 70% of the time. It's a problem. Their third down defense is ranked 27th. They allow conversions 43% of the time. And their pass rush is quite strong, surprisingly strong. It's ranked 9th. Now, Leonard Floyd did leave in the second quarter with a hamstring injury. He's listed as questionable. Troy, and I sent you this action. I popped it in the Discord. I am on the first half under 24.5 and the full game under 48.5. And there's different ways of, breaking this down. You can take it from a very simple standpoint where you take two teams that play indoors and you take them outside. If we take a look at that Falcons-Patriots game as an example, those two teams combined to go 6 for 7 in the red zone. 6 for 7 and still only put up 47 points. So I will also make a bet that in this game, these two teams, now this is obviously this is the reason why I'm on there, won't go 6 for 7 in the red zone. That is an outlier. Also, Atlanta has a somewhat similar defensive profile as the Steelers, because Atlanta's defense is predicated on a strong pass rush, just like the Steelers. The Steelers use that pass rush to create 6 turnovers. They used it to hold the Colts to 20 points outdoors. and they tipped 2 of those passes. The pass rush tipped 2 passes that were intercepted, and I believe the Falcons can do something somewhat similar. They're coming off a tough 24-23 loss at New England. Noise canceled score was 22-21 Atlanta. Penix was 22 at 37 for 221 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Drake London returned from injury and caught 9 passes for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns. Bijan ran 12 times for 46 yards. He did catch 8 for 50. The Falcons are now 0-5 when Bijan runs for less than 75 yards. They were just 1 of 10 on third down, but they were a perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. This red zone offense is ranked 22nd. After those, the 3 for 3 still ranked 22nd, converting 52.2% of the time. So I don't think they'll be perfect against the Colts. I think that will help me in my under. This is a very high total. The defense allowed the Patriots to go 8 of 12 on third down. That was bad, but they still held them to just 4.9 yards per play. They allowed the Pats to go 3 of 4 in the red zone. This 9th-ranked pass rush looked very strong. 6 sacks. Jesse Bates had an interception. And then here's something that we have been attacking, and it's been working. Left guard Matthew Bergeron left in the first quarter with an ankle injury. Guard Chris Lindstrom suffered a foot injury in the game. Both are listed as questionable this week. When offensive line backups start coming in, the offense stops working. It stops delivering at the same rate. And we'll be talking about that with Joe Alt out for the Chargers for the rest of the season. Zach Harrison, defensive end, and safety Billy Bowman were inactive and are listed as questionable this week. The Colts. Passing offense ranked 13th, rushing offense ranked 3rd, red zone offense ranked 5th, third down offense ranked 6th. So again, I'm expecting these 2 teams not to go 6 or 7 in the red zone. In doing that, I have the 3rd worst red zone defense in the Atlanta Falcons going up against the 5th ranked red zone offense in the Colts. But I do think it was pressure that was affecting Dimes. It was pressure that was affecting the Colts. And that's the only thing that the Falcons can give me that I can count on is pressure. The Colts pass defense ranked 21st, rush defense ranked 10th, red zone defense ranked 14th, and third down defense ranked 29th. They allow conversions 45.7% of the time, and the pass rush ranked 14th. They coming up that 27-20 loss at the Steelers. You had boots on the ground in the stadium. You absolutely murked the cap. You did it perfectly. The noise-canceled score was 18-13 Steelers. Dimes was 31 of 50 for 342 yards, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions. He also fumbled 3 times, losing 2 of them. That's his 3 interceptions. That's what he's had all year. And he had that in one game. Again, 2 of them were tipped. Both of his fumbles came on plays when he was looking downfield, and everything collapsed around him. That sort of thing can happen again with this Falcons pass rush. Now, is it better with Leonard Floyd in there? Yes, it is. But they can still menace without Leonard Floyd. The Colts outgained the Steelers 368-225, but they lost the turnover battle 6-1. Alex Pierce caught 6 for 115. Pittman caught 9 for 115. Jonathan Taylor had a quiet game, running 14 times for 45 yards while catching 2 passes for 12 yards. So what's Steichen going to say to the boys? We have to run the ball more. We weren't effective running the ball, and it hurt us badly. So what are the Colts going to do in this game? Jonathan Taylor is going to run 28 times in this football game, and he's going to run for over 100 yards, and this clock is going to be ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking. They finished 6 of 14 on third down, but they were perfect 5 for 5 on fourth down and 2 of 2 in the red zone. I find that very difficult to believe they can keep that going. The defense battled to deal with the offensive turnovers. They held the Steelers to 3.7 yards per play, 3 of 6 in the red zone. The defense played great in that football game. The offense just put them in terrible situations. Their 10th ranked rushing defense held the Steelers to 38 yards on 23 carries. So they're going to try to slow down Bijan Robinson. They're going to do everything they can to slow down Bijan Robinson. I think they're more than capable of doing that. Latu had 2.5 sacks and 3 quarterback hits. The rest of the team just had a half sack and a quarterback hit. Charvarius Ward still out with a concussion. They acquire Sauce Gardner. He is incredible. He needed to get out of New York. They got him for Adonai Mitchell and 26 and 27 first-round draft picks. Sauce Gardner is back from the concussion. He's practicing this week, and he'll be filling that cornerback spot. I'm on first half under, full game under. Troy Torrence, take it away.
Jimmy, you just destroyed that handicap. Destroyed it. While you were talking, I moved on the 48.5. I knew it was the best number on the board. I got the under 48.5 in this game. I also got the Atlanta Falcons plus 6.5. But I think that everything that Jimmy talked about, I mean, he basically, I'm crossing on my notes as he's talking. You destroyed that handicap. It's really going to come down to pressure from Atlanta's defense, right? That's the one thing they do. You touched on that you hammered it over and over, and I agree. So that means Indy's going to turn to focus on running the football. And what are they going to look at in last week's box score? Jimmy, you touched on it. They're going to look that they did not run the football with Jonathan Taylor. I'm sitting up in the stands with the fans, right? The Steelers fans, and they're high-fiving, and a Colts fan is right next to me. It was actually the guy who brought me. One of his big customers was there, and he was hemming and hawing. He was pissed off. I was like, "You all right, man?" As everyone's fucking waving their towels around in the stadium, going absolutely insane. He's like, "They're not fucking running the ball." He was pissed. He actually knew his shit. I was pretty impressed with it. But I believe that, both teams are going to focus on running the football for that matter, because Indianapolis, in my opinion, they've seen one team that had a similar rushing attack all season. It was the Rams, who had a high success rate every time they ran the football. This will be the first time they've seen a style of offense. They really haven't seen a Falcons type of offense, in my opinion. You look through the resume, the Rams would be the closest just because they have a good ground game, even though they're not going to try to run the ball like the Falcons are going to try to run the ball. I also think we're going to see Atlanta with red zone woes. But the biggest thing about this game the only point that you didn't hammer in this game is I think that we're going to see a little bit of the air being let out of the balloon moment. I think the Colts are definitely due for some temporary regression. I think the offense is legit, but I don't want to get overreactive from what I just seen on the ground in Pittsburgh. But it was an awful situation. I get it. They were on the road, outdoors, on grass against a highly motivated team. On the road, outdoors, on grass against a highly motivated team. I think that's who they're getting right now in the Atlanta Falcons, who's also on the road, and I think that's reflected in the spread. So I think there's value on the Falcons at 6.5 as well. Under 48.5 and Falcons 6.5. That's my two plays for this game.
I like it. I think that I could get to the Falcons too. I think I can get to the Falcons too. So you got what did you get the Falcons at?
6.5 minus 110.
And then you got the under 48.5 at minus 110. And so if you see this,
wait, that's the thing. That's the thing though. Like, we've seen this Colts team at home, indoors, on turf. We see them 1 week on grass, outdoors, and we've seen what just happened. Like, it's not the same. That nobody understands the difference in the surfaces are massive. Every time I went on the road and played on grass, I slipped numerous times. Like, it's a huge difference. You got to change your cleats. You got to go, warm up on the field. Like, it's just a complete game changer. It's going to impact both teams. I think both offenses are going to be less effective. Like, the under is beautiful. You well put. I mean, you sold that.
I like it. I like it. I like this. Drewski says the total moved to 47.5. Would you still like the under? Yeah. I mean, the main thing for me is I wanted a 24.5 on the first half. That was very important. And then I really, honestly, just wanted to be above that 47.5. Drewski again. I mean, I think we hammered it in every way why we like the under here. The idea is that we won't be able to do this effectively in week 15, 16, 17, because we are taking advantage of a team statistical profile that doesn't fit the environment that they're playing in this week. It's simple. And we're doing you only really, and I'm like, it's illuminating now that you're only really going to get a chance to do that in the NFL and in college football in the middle of the season. In college, when you've had a team who's not gone on the road and you're in week 7, the statistical profile is built on what they're doing at home. And here, the Colts statistical profile is almost sold, and both the Falcons, but more so the Colts, is based on indoors.
Correct. And another thing I want to say about the market. So I filtered the database down to international games only, and I made it, I'm just looking at the sample where the totals were above 44. There's a total of 6 games since 2022 outdoor, in overseas with the total higher than 44. It's 5-1 to the under. Only one game eclipsed 42 points, and it was the one that went over. It was 51 points in a fluke game between the Jaguars and the Bears, with ridiculous plays happening, long plays, turnovers in their own red zone, and that just barely got over the number we're currently looking at. I think the under I think it's solid.
I do too. And Anthony Richardson says Colts put up over 28 points a game at home. But look, we're in Berlin, Germany. We're not at home. So I'm pretty confident in the spot, and I think I may join you with the Falcons.
And I might join you at the first half under. Like I think the more I'm sold on the under.
That is the NFL Berlin game. We are both making moves here. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. We head back to North America, 1 p.m. Eastern. New York Giants 2-7, 0-5 on the road. Chicago Bears 5-3, 2-1 at home. Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. So you have a Bears team that just put up 47 points, able to score a lot. You have a Giants defense that's weak. You have a quarterback in Dart, despite not having Scadaboo, able to score a lot. So first off, your gut will tell you, well, you got to be on the over in this game. This total is moving down fast. Why is it moving down fast? The look ahead was 47.5. It closed at 46.5 before it reopened at 48, got up to 48.5 because I imagine everybody's thinking the same thing about what these two football teams are doing. And then it drops down to 47. Why would it drop down? Well, first off, 15 mile per hour winds, and it's 41 Fahrenheit. So we're starting to get a little colder. It's light rain. It could be no rain. So you want to keep an eye on it. So the first thing I want to do is go up against the optics. So I get why this is moving towards the under in the weather, with the weather. And I've thought about moving on the under because I think it's a sharp move that it's dropping. I have not moved on it yet. Let's talk about the Giants. Oh, let's get to the cash flow here as well. So we talked about the total. Sorry, let me get to the side. I'm so stuck on totals. I'm just running very hot with them right now. It's my main focus, which is strange. I'm surprised. But we have the Giants plus 3.5. That's pretty heavily juiced. The look ahead was 3.5 at a pick'em. By the time that we were about to have kickoff, the plus 3 was plus 100. There'd been a 10-cent move to the Bears. Then it reemerges at 3.5. And since then, there's been 7 cents of movement towards the Giants. So that 3.5 is juiced. When we get to the cash flow here, we have 75% of tickets, 86% of cash on the Bears, 81% of tickets on the over, and 60% of cash on the under. Giants passing offense ranked 23rd, rushing offense 4th, red zone offense 26th, 50% of the time they're scoring touchdowns. Their third down offense 14th. They convert 40% of the time. Their pass defense is 14th, but their rush defense is third worst in the NFL, as is their red zone defense. Same as the Falcons, 30th, allowing 70% of the time the opposition to score touchdowns. Their third down defense is 17th at 38.9%. But again, we have a pass rush, an 8th ranked pass rush, one that we can trust. Giants coming off a 34-24 loss home to the 49ers. The noise canceled score was 30-25 49ers. The Giants have lost 3 in a row. They've given up at least 33 points in each of those games. So one would think, wow, if they allow 33 points again, this game would sail over. Jackson Dart was 24-33 for 191 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He also led the ground game, running 8 times for 56 yards and a touchdown. It was their first game without Scadaboo. Singletary and Tyrone Tracy combined to run 13 times for 61 yards and catch 5 passes for 27 yards. They were decent. Darius Slayton led receivers with 5 catches for 62 yards. The offense was 5 of 12 on third down, 2 of 3 in the red zone. The defense could not stop the 49ers ground game. They were incapable of stopping the ground game. An interesting thing here, if you look at Vidal for the Chargers, because the Bears had, Kyle Monangai running, a 7th round pick out of Rutgers, running 26 times for 176 yards, catching 3 passes for 22 yards, having the game of his life. What did Vidal do after he had the game of his life? Squad ass nothing. It's not easy for these rookies, these kids who explode in front of your eyes, to do that again 7 days later. It is extremely difficult. The 49ers ran 39 times for 159 yards on these Giants. The 49ers finished 7 of 12 on third and fourth down, 4 or 5 in the red zone. The 8th ranked pass rush was very quiet, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. It's because the Giants are beat up, and they're getting more beat up. Center John Michael Schmitz, he left with a shin injury in the third quarter, didn't return. He's listed as questionable, as is their inside linebacker, Darius Masau. He injured his ankle in the second quarter. Wide receiver Bo Collins, he has a neck injury. He's listed as questionable. This is a team that's already missing cornerbacks Paulson Adebo, Cordell Flott, knee injury. and concussion. So there's 2 cornerbacks there, and safety Javon Holland, all inactive. Then Daniel Bellinger, inactive at tight end, and right tackle Ilya Manor, also with the pectoral muscle. This is a real beat-up Giants team. Let's talk about the Bears. Passing offense ranked 15th, rushing offense 5th, red zone offense 25th, third down offense ranked 8th. Their pass defense is ranked 27th. Giants can't really take advantage of that. Their rush defense ranked 20th. Their red zone defense ranked 20th. And the Bears have the 5th ranked third down defense and a weak pass rush that did get 3 sacks and 5 quarterback hits against the Bengals, but couldn't stop anything. That was a wild 47-42 victory at Cincinnati. Noise canceled score was Bears domination. Noise canceled score was 49-26. And it wasn't that at all. Bears needed that 58-yard Colston Loveland touchdown with 17 seconds left to get the win. The offense put up 576 total yards. Caleb Williams was 20 of 34 for 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Williams also had 53 rushing yards. As Troy was talking about, he became the first starting quarterback in 82 years with multiple receptions in the game. Caught the TD pass from DJ Moore on that trick play, and then hauled in a 20-yard pass from Tyson Bagent in the fourth quarter. Loveland led receivers with 6 catches for 118 yards and 2 touchdowns. We talked about what Monangai did. He looked incredible. They went 10 of 17 on 3rd and 4th down, 4 of 6 in the red zone, but the defense did not look good. Allowed the Bengals to put up 495 total yards. Bengals went 6 of 11 on 3rd down, 2 of 4 in the red zone. Pass rush got 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Nashawn Wright and Tremont Edmonds had interceptions. And Cole Kmet and Josh Blackwell both suffered concussions, did not return. They are both in concussion protocol. Unlikely either of them comes back. And Odiengbo had an ankle injury in the second half, and it's a torn Achilles. Their defensive lineman is out, done for the rest of the year. Troy Torrence, my friend, take it away, Giants Bears.
This is a spot where I think it's pretty vitally important to pay attention to the noise canceled score when you see that big of a discrepancy. And when you look under the hood, you could find 10 points right away. A kickoff on the opening kickoff gets taken back for a touchdown, 75 yards. The Bears missed field goal, a 45-yard field goal or whatever it was. There's 10 points right there. They were down 14 with under 2 minutes left. They had to recover an onside kick and score a touchdown. This Bears team, and I didn't watch the game. I know their defense was piss poor, but not as piss poor as the Bengals defense and the Bears, how they made them look. Obviously, the Bengals had a lot of things bounce their way to even be in this game. What sticks out to me about this matchup right out of the rip is the Bears' offensive line being tested for the first time really since the Lions game. This offensive line has been the bright spot for this Bears team all season long, in my opinion. They really haven't seen a dominant pass rush, and the Giants' defense is completely centralized on that defensive line, especially in pressuring the quarterback. And the question becomes, can the Giants' D-line pressure Caleb Williams while simultaneously keeping him in the pocket and stopping the run? And I think that's where they're going to run into issues because the Bears' offensive line has been surging, especially in the running game. The offensive line is 6th in run block. Ben Johnson, the split zone scheme. I mean, his weekly schemes are glorious, but he's kind of getting a lot of yards out of that split zone and going back to the well with it. I think this needs to continue. They need to run the football, keep the pressure off of Caleb Williams, and allow him to play in much more favorable situations. Now, I don't know if they're going to be able to sustain a good ground game, but I think that this is a really good opponent to extend their rushing streak because this run D is 30th per PFF. They're allowing 30. There's 32nd yards allowed per carry. So those two numbers are matching up tit for tat. The down linemen, they want to rush the passer. They don't want to stop the run. They don't want to get gritty, right? They don't want to be disciplined in their gaps. They want to pin the rear back and go rush the passer. Obviously, the Bears defense, massive problem. Their 2 best cover corners on the IR, Gordon and Jalen Ramsey. Adembago or Odembago goes to the IR. Early in the season, it was the linebackers on the IR. And Dennis Allen, the problem is they have those 2 DBs out. Dennis Allen wants to play man coverage. He can't do it. He can't do it with the personnel he has. That's his strong suit as a defensive coordinator, putting together a good man-to-man scheme as his base defense. Can't do that here with these guys. So I think they're still trying to figure it out. But I think that this Giants team, I heard some people talking about Jackson Dart being the leading rusher. I agree. I think the Giants defense is vulnerable against the run. I think the Bears are going to be able to take advantage of that with Ben Johnson at the OC. I think the offense is, kind of played over their head to some extent. I mean, it's so easy to scheme for this defense without Neighbors or Scatabo. Play underneath coverage. There's really no vertical threats out there. Limit Jackson Dart's mobility. Keep him in the pocket. And, it's not Dart's fault. Like, I think he's going to be a staple in this league. I think he's really good. He has some staying power, but he just doesn't have the tools necessary to be a competent offense. I'm only looking towards the Bears in this spot. There's no way I can be on the Giants.
I agree with that, but this 3 and 3.5 now, a very sharp offshore has, moved it to 4. They moved it to 4 yesterday, and it's become a little bit juiced towards the Giants. I would want to see that. The 3.5. I mean, here's a Giants team that's 2-7 and 0-5 on the road against Bears team that's 5-3. Only played 3 home games and looked really good. And I guess, easy to say 2 of them, but this line is a little suspect. Now, I guess you can't.
I don't think so at all. I don't think so. The Giants, I mean, what they beat up on the Eagles. They went into Denver. They were up 33 to whatever. Lost that game.
But do we not? I mean, Scadaboo was just this energetic buzzsaw that gave life to every single player on the team, every single person in the stands. I mean, am I overvaluing his loss?
Yeah, I do. I think so. I don't think the books move the line because of him, but maybe a half a point. And even that might be too much. That might be too gracious.
It's just, who in the right mind would want to back the 0-5 Giants here? That's the only thing that concerns me.
Honestly, see, I ask myself the same question, and I think the other way. I think I look at this line, I'm like, man, the bookies, they clearly want me on the Giants in this spot.
75% of the tickets, 86% of the cash on the Bears. Who in the right mind would back an 0-5 football team where, planes are being flown over games trying to convince, a firing of everybody involved with this football team? I just, optic-wise, Bears are playing pretty good football. They put up 576 total yards. What do you think of this total dropping?
I don't know what to do with the total because the market history would suggest this game's going over. And I would agree with you that I think the game would likely go under because, I don't see the Bears offense having that much success like they just had. I think we have value on this under. And I don't think they have as much success as the 49ers offense had against the Giants. So,
are you close to moving on anything here?
I am not. I think the most value is on the Bears money line. If you can get a -180, I think the Bears money line makes the most sense. I mean, the profile for this ranges between 73 and 100% with an 81% average on the money line. And all we need to do is hit 65%-ish at the current price to break even. And history would say, and my handicap would say that the value is on the Bears, but it's just so hard for me because I think the Giants, when you look at X's and O's, buy high, sell low, buy low, sell high, would be backing the Giants. So I'm kind of at odds with myself here.
Mark Stasowski says that, he thinks the public would still look at the Giants because Dart is intriguing to fans. I mean,
that's a good point.
0-5 on the road. The Bears have been good this year. So it just feels like a Bears smash spot. I'd want to see this line move to 4 and 4.5. I guess I have some interest in the Bears, and I only have interest in the under because of how high. I mean, we have the Giants coming off a 58-point game, and the Bears coming off an 89-point game. That appeals to me, but that's about it. So at this point, I have some interest in the Bears and under, but I'm certainly not moving on it tonight. Is there anything you want to touch on before we move on?
Yeah, one last thing. I think the cash flow is going to come back significantly in this game. And I think we have time. Like, I don't think you want to move on the Bears at the current number. I think the sharps are going to come in on the Giants, and then you could take a nice 3.5 with the Bears. If you want to take that side, I would be on the money line personally. I'm thinking about paying the price, taking the money line.
As an individual bet or as tying
Yes.
with something? Yeah.
I have so many things tied later on in the slate that it's like it just became too much, and that would be a game that I wouldn't want parlayed with anything else because you could see where it could go drastically, could go haywire.
All right. That was a tricky one. Bears, Giants. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Bankroll Blitz Week 10. We roll on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, the Buffalo Bills took good care of us. Great care of us. 6-2, 2-1 on the road at the Miami Dolphins, 2-7, 1-3 at home. Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens, Florida. 84 Fahrenheit, chance of showers, 6 mile per hour winds. We have the Bills minus 9.5, minus 111. The look ahead was 9, and it got bet down to 8. This got bet down to 8. Reemerges at 8.5, and now is up to 9.5. Let's get to the total here for this one. From a total standpoint, we have a 50, flat 50. It opened up. The look ahead was 50, and it is now 50. Nothing has changed. No juice, no vig, no nothing. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for Bills Dolphins. We have 94% of the tickets, 94% of the cash on the Bills, 75% of tickets on the over, 65% cash on the over. I mean, it's certainly a situation with the Bills coming off a game that means so much to them, where you'd want to fade them, and the public's going to be all over the Bills. But obviously, the Dolphins are a sinking ship and just traded Jalen Phillips, and we'll get into all of that. But let's start with the Bills. Passing offense ranked 5th, rushing offense ranked 2nd, red zone offense 9th. Touchdown 67.7% of the time. Third down offense, excellent. They convert 45.7% of the time. It's a very good football team. Pass defense ranked 25th. Rush defense ranked 29th. Red zone defense ranked 11th. Third down defense ranked 14th. And this pass rush ranked 6th. Will it stay there, though? I was pretty excited about Michael Hoyt coming back after the 6-game absence for PEDs, and he is done for the year. Tore his right Achilles tendon. Ogunjobi's still there, but that's hurts. That hurts. I'm with DG. I know that the whole world's going to want to be on the Bills. I'm interested in them here. Very. The Bills coming off an impressive 28-21 home victory over the Chiefs. Noise-canceled score was 32-22 Bills. Outgained the Chiefs 404-305. Josh Allen was 23-26 for 273 yards, touchdown, no picks. He also ran 6 times for 19 yards, 2 touchdowns. Set the franchise record for completion percentage, 23 of 26, 88.5%. Kincaid, 6 catches for 101 touchdown. James Cook ran 27 for 114. The team was just rolling. Bills were 7 of 13 on third down, perfect 3 of 3 in the red zone. Defense was strong throughout, held the Chiefs to 3 of 13 on third down, 2 of 3 in the red zone, despite playing without Ed Oliver. And this was our big point. Now, losing Hoyt doesn't help the argument that much, but despite playing without Ed Oliver, the pass rush was excellent. They finished with 3 sacks and 15 quarterback hits. What else did we say? Everyone's talking about Ed Oliver. Why aren't they talking about Maxwell Hairston? He only played 44% of the snaps in his first game of the year. And we saw what he was graded at. He was graded out very impressively. And what did he do? He was a monster all game long. Interception in the second career game. Knocked down that last chance of the Chiefs. He was just phenomenal. Shaq Thompson.
Awesome. He was unbelievable, that kid.
It was, and that's but remember, we were just talking about how everybody was talking about Ed Oliver, and we were able to abuse the optics. Linebacker Shaq Thompson, defensive tackle Daquan Jones, who now they need back quite badly. Cornerback Teron Johnson and wide receiver Joshua Palmer were all inactive and listed as questionable this week. Let's talk about the Dolphins. Passing offense ranked 25th, rushing offense 27th, red zone offense 17th, and third down offense 17th. Their pass defense is a real problem. It's ranked 28th, while the rush defense not good at 24th. Now they have no Jalen Phillips. Red zone defense ranked 10th at 55.6%. Third down defense ranked 25th at 42.6%. And this is the worst pass rush in the National Football League, according to Pro Football Focus. But they come in off extra rest and prep. That's helpful. They lose 28-6 at home to the Ravens on Thursday. Noise-canceled score wasn't quite as bad, 27-14 Ravens. It was bad enough that Chris Greer, their general manager, had been with the team since 2000. Now, of course, as general manager, but been with the team since 2000, was fired after the game. And they announced that McDaniel will keep his position until the end of the season. They outgained the Ravens in that first half, 226-109. held them to 1 of 6 on third down, but they made mistake after mistake after mistake. The more I'm talking about this game, the higher I'm getting on backing the Dolphins here. Tunga Vailoa was 25 of 40 for 261 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. Waddle caught 6 for 82. Achane ran 14 times for 67, caught 6 for 39. Both Taj Washington and Malik Washington lost fumbles. Just terrible ones. The one at the 10 was heartbreaking for Dolphins backers. Not that I was one of them. Dolphins were just 2 of 12 on third down, 0 of 3 in the red zone. The defense wasn't horrible, but they couldn't get stops when it mattered. Held the Ravens to 5 of 13 on third down. Let them go perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. Pass rush, 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hits. And they trade Jalen Phillips to the Eagles for a third-round pick. Now, these are the questions here. Did sometimes you need to get the guy who doesn't want to be there out of the room? And I don't know if that's the case with Jalen Phillips, but it might be. The problem is Chop Robinson is in concussion protocol, their linebacker, and they just got rid of a linebacker. And cornerback Rasul Douglas left with a toe injury. Also, Ollie Gordon with an ankle injury. But it's Chop Robinson who you need. You'd think that there's enough time to get out of concussion protocol. So we need to take a good look at the injury report tomorrow. All 3 of those are listed as questionable. Take it away for us here, Troy, Torrance, Bills, Dolphins.
Sorry, I'm making one more note on this because you are on the opposite side of me in this game. I was looking towards the Buffalo Bills. And as I start every handicap, I just started in the market efficiency database, and there's a lot to figure out, a lot of market movement that could potentially come in this game. But I wanted to just say divisional home dogs in this price range between 8.5 and 10. Really, and they're undefeated if you go between 9 and 10. And I think that says something because, 8.5 puts them in teaser range and over 10 would put them, above 2 scores. So that's the range you really want to identify. Home dogs in division in between 9 and 10 are 0-3, losing by 18, 28, and 28. You look at the primetime games where these teams are priced between 9 and 12.5, which I think are another 2 key numbers. They get absolutely smoked. The Bills, after the Chiefs in the regular season, this was exactly where I wanted to go. I wanted to go towards the Dolphins in this spot. 2024, last year after they beat the Chiefs, they beat the 49ers 35-10. In 2023, they beat the Chiefs, then they beat the Cowboys 31-10. In 2022, they beat the Chiefs 24-20, then they beat the Packers 27-17. 3 years, 3 games, all 3 times they won by double digits. 2 of the times they won by 21 or more. I think it's a pretty tricky market because it's very small. And, you talk about abuse the optics. That's definitely one of the optics I wanted to abuse in this game is the Chiefs, off a game with the Chiefs going on the road. But it is a divisional opponent. And the Dolphins figured to be more tough than I thought they would be this season to figure out. Things go terribly wrong. You think the bottom's about to fall off. Then they put up the performance they did in ATL. But you got to put asterisks around that. No Penix, no London. That changes things drastically, but still a solid performance. But then they come out versus Baltimore. And they do get blown out. The noise justice score suggested a much closer game, and I would agree with that. The noise justice score might be a little bit larger than I would have thought. I thought this would be more of a 10, maybe something between 7 and 10. But the Dolphins, they went 2 for 13 on third down. The Ravens defense is uptrending. I do want to say that. And the Dolphins defense, I think they turned back into a pumpkin. I don't think the Ravens really did much offensively. They just really wanted to test Lamar Jackson out, turn around and hand the ball off, and they just ran it down their throats. They really didn't face too much resistance. I just don't know. This is a Dolphins team that I think would have less life in this situation because they're just a cancerous organization with not much working out for them. And the Bills, it was a beautiful gift. I wanted to fade them. They had a success rate over 50% on all downs and distances. Outgained KC by 1 yard per play. The defense played the best game of the season. You covered all the big things. But schematically, you've seen a little bit of a difference too because they played zone coverage on 75% of snaps, which is less than they usually would have. And they mixed man coverage in on third and medium, and they froze their sets. I loved what they did with their man coverage. It shocked Patrick Mahomes a few times. It almost looked like a cross-match zone, but it wasn't. It was man coverage. And the rotations from single to 2 high, post-snap, underneath coverage, playing hard zones. I loved it. And then Harrison, he was amazing. He had the best game I've seen, one of the best games I've seen from the DBs. If you go snap by snap, the question I have, the question I have after the game they had with the Chiefs is, does it reflect the Bills' elite status in the NFL, or are the Chiefs just drastically overpriced in the market? It was a massive game for Kansas City, and they got torched. I can't get behind the Dolphins team in their current state. I don't want to back the Bills team coming off this type of game. This is a really tough spot because I do think the Bills defense is uptrending, and I think that means there could be a little bit more to go in terms of fair market value before the Bills do reach their peak of the market where you can't physically buy them anymore like the Patriots. But it's also a situation where the Bills have been threatened by this team once already. In that game, Waddle, Achane, and Tyreek caught touchdowns. In a game where the defense was completely different, no Milano, no Poyer, no Hoyt, no Ogunjobi, no Teron Johnson. Then you have the Dolphins, they have no hope. They're going into London next week. They're on their last leg. I know they're playing the Bills, so it's a little bit of a tough situation. I only have one bet in this game, and it's a money line bet in a game that I'm confident in that we're going to discuss later. I have a money line parlay with the Bills just to get the juice into a much more reasonable range on my money line play that I can't wait to talk about because I want to add to that one.
Wow. Interesting stuff from Digging, who's always got money stats for us. Big home dogs in individual games after scoring less than 7 points, or 23-11 against the spread. I think it's tricky to look at the psychology behind what the hell's going on with the Dolphins. I think the extra rest and prep is extremely helpful. And I understand that, the Ravens were trying things out, but the Dolphins outgained them 226-109 in the first half, and they came into the locker room down 14-6 and, heads hanging. And I don't know it sounds like they need Campbell in their coaching to pump these guys up because they just fell apart. They were just broken. I think the extra time helps. Maybe getting Jalen Phillips out of the room helps. AM says over. So do you think you're going to end up moving on the Bills on the spread, or is this just going to be a parlay piece on the money?
So yeah, they outgained them, but they had 5 drives in scoring range. They averaged 1.2 points per those 5 drives.
A fumble at the 10. There's a lot went wrong.
Yeah, the fumble at the 10 went drastically wrong. Yeah, between those two things, the 5 drives in scoring range, only 1.2 points, and the fumble in the red zone, they get 27-14. I think that's still too generous in favor of the Ravens. Yeah, tough spot. It's not like I'm going to be betting the Bills laying this big-ass number off of the Chiefs win. I just believe the Bills are going to do enough to win this game. It's just too important at this point.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't doubt that at all. I think the Dolphins can stay in this game. I think this is the type of game where the public takes a bath.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Bills win by 7, win by 8, whatever it is. Cowboys cover. I just the whole world's going to be on the Bills. Already we have 94% of tickets, and it just dropped to 92 just now. 94% tickets, 92% of the cash. I'm seeing 9.5s across the board. Hard Rock has dropped it to a flat 9. I'm interested in the Dolphins. I'm interested in the Dolphins. I don't know if I get there. I'm going to need to sit with it. I also, the Bills are going to know that, they've already had a tough game with the Dolphins. I don't think they're going to take the Dolphins too lightly, but it's hard not to think about how good you are after you beat the Chiefs by 7, control the game, outgain them by 100 yards. And, so I'm interested in the Dolphins. I'm not going to move on them tonight, but I'm interested. We have AM liking the over here. Do you have interest in this total?
No interest in the total. No, because I don't think the Dolphins, like I said, the Bills defense. Like if anything, I guess I'd be trying to get under the total. But history would say that the road team absolutely stomps the home team in this case, and it goes over the total because they put up 32 points or more every game. So yeah, I would just be looking at a side, and it would just be I just want the Bills on the money line to reduce the juice on some of these other money line plays that I love. I think I'm very confident in the money line in this case. Road favorites between 9 and 10, like in this price range, is a much stronger price range than it is when the home team is in this price range.
But this could conceivably get to an 8.5, and if it does, with all this money on the Bills, I think it's a sign from the books. If it's down to an 8.5, does that change it?
Yeah, I would definitely be much less confident in the money line, and I would actually start looking at it as more of an ATS type of play, I believe. But let's see.
I think it's going to be a fun football game. I don't think this is going to be a. Now I hear
like here you go, Jimmy. Here you go. Like home dogs between 8 and 8.5, between 7.5 and 8.5. Market moving towards them. Home dogs 7.5, 8.5. Market moving towards them are 2-3 ATS, 0-5 straight up. 5-0 to the over.
I also think that it is optional misery backing some of these teams that may have just let go. I don't know if I need to do it here, but I'm certainly interested.
Well, they had a great situation last time on the road, right? They played their best game. They had A-Chain, Tyreek Hill. The Bills defense was on their heels the whole early this part of the season, and they still lost by 10. I know they deserved a better fate in that one too.
They did.
But this is not a team on the right side of fate.
No, they are not. They are not. All right. Doug White says we may be getting cute backing the Fins here. Axe Jackson says you think it's dead, but the Fins are still flapping. Let's roll. Let's roll on. Let's roll on. Next spot on the board. I know you are very excited about this football game. Troy Torrance, Baltimore Ravens 3-5, 1-2 on the road. Minnesota Vikings 4-4, 1-2 at home. US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's get into the line history here for this one. This total is a 48 and climbing. The look ahead was 46.5. It reemerges Sunday night at 47, drops down to 46.5. And then at 11 a.m. yesterday, a big 1.5 move to the over. It didn't just move a 1.5 to the over, but it's also heavily juiced to the over. So it's like a 2-point move really to the over at that point. A very bullish move towards the over. Take a look at the spread here. We have Minnesota +4. The look ahead was 3.5. It reemerges Sunday night at 3.5, and it dropped down to 3. This was a flat. Well, it wasn't a legit 3. It was juiced towards the Ravens, but it did drop. So that's maybe still a 3.5. Let's call it that. The 3.5 lasted until 12:44 p.m. yesterday when it moved to a 4. So there's been a 0.5-point move towards the Ravens. Take a look at the cash flow here for this Ravens Vikings spot. 83% of the tickets, 82% of cash on the Baltimore Ravens. 92% of tickets, 92% cash on the over. Again, I was very confident in that Minnesota Detroit over. I shouldn't say that. I even when I'm confident, I need a sign from the books. And if I don't get it, I'll generally stay off. I got the sign, and then it moved back against me. But I got the sign that I wanted, and then it moved back against me, and it was still very easy. It was predicated on the Vikings being able to score points in Detroit. And I didn't need that many. I thought Lions would put up more than 24. I think a lot of people did. Let's talk about the Ravens. Passing offense ranked 24th. Rushing offense ranked 23rd. I don't think we need to talk about these offensive statistics. I don't think they play a role. We've seen what happened when Patrick Ricard came back, fullback for the Ravens. He's the best arguably the best blocking fullback in the NFL, and the run game started producing immediately. Lamar Jackson still not testing the hamstring, still not really moving, but Derrick Henry had a big game. Pass defense ranked 15th, rush defense ranked 27th, red zone defense ranked 16th, third down defense ranked 20th, and pass rush ranked 29th. But this defense is a work in progress. You lose Madubuike, and now we have trades being made, and they're fixing this defense. Ravens coming off extra rest and prep after winning 28-6 at home over the Dolphins on Thursday night. Noise canceled scores 27-14 Ravens. We talked about the Dolphins actually outgaining the Ravens in the first half. We don't need to hit that again. But they outgained them bad, 226-109. Lamar Jackson returned from his hamstring strain, 18-23, 204 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. Derrick Henry ran 19 times for 119 yards. Zay Flowers led receivers with 5 catches for 64 yards. The offense finished 5 of 13 on third down and a perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. The defense held the Dolphins to 2 of 12 on third down and 0 of 3 in the red zone. Now, the pass rush wasn't overwhelming, 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, but as I text you as soon as I found out, they got Draymond Jones from the Tennessee Titans in exchange for a conditional 5th-round pick. That's extremely important. We've seen these trades that have been made. These are sharp dudes. The first trade was one brother trading a piece to another brother. And Odafe Owe has been excellent, for Jim. And for John, Gilman has been incredible. He's been so helpful. They didn't need Jair Alexander. They let him go to the Eagles. Let's talk about what Gilman has done to this defense. He comes in week 6. Since entering the starting lineup, the Ravens are 2nd in points allowed per game, 7th in EPA per play, and 9th in success rate. He forced a fumble and recovered another one against the Dolphins last Thursday. But that's not it. That's not what he's done. That's not the important piece. He has unleashed Kyle Hamilton. Before the trade, Hamilton spent 70% of his snaps playing safety. He's off the line of scrimmage, in the middle of the field, playing in space, only in the box 17.4% of his snaps. That's not where you can have this phenomenal football player abusing the other team. You need him using his length. You need him at the point of attack. You need him with his explosiveness. Since the Gilman trade, he's lined up at safety 6 times in 3 weeks. That's it, 3.4% of his snaps. He's been in the box 56.9% of his snaps, spent another 36.2% at slot corner. I think it's fair to say that you can put a line through all of the statistics that the Ravens have compiled this year and pay no attention to them and use and abuse it because they're much better than the statistics indicate. Let's talk about the Vikings. Passing offense ranked 32nd, rushing offense ranked 24th, red zone offense 21st at 55.6%, third down offense 28th at 33.3%. Their pass defense ranked 24th, rush defense ranked 19th, red zone defense is ranked 5th in the NFL. Third down defense is ranked 7th. Every time I start thinking, is this a bad defense? I realize it's not, but they don't have it all figured out and they're starting to. And you know that they have a chance when we see what they did to the Detroit Lions and we see what their red zone and third down defense is. Vikings come in off a big 27-24 victory at Detroit. Noise cancel score was 22-21 Vikings. J.J. McCarthy returned to the lineup. Look, he's a guy who gets everybody pumped up and makes everybody believe they can win. Now, you can't figure that out by a stat line, 14-25 for 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But you can figure it out when you hear them talk about him, talk about what he's doing in the huddle. Aaron Jones ran 9 times for 78 yards while catching 2 passes for 20 yards. Now, he hurt his shoulder. KOC says that it's sore, but they received positive news early on, and we'll see if he can increase his activity levels as the week goes on. Jordan Addison led receivers with 2 catches for 48. Justin Jefferson caught 6 for 47 and a touchdown. The Vikings only put up 258 yards. That's it. 4 of 12 on third down, 3 of 5 in the red zone. We talk about what this Ravens defense looked like with Kyle Hamilton being able to, be in attack mode and not be in space. Well, look at what this Vikings defense looked like with Van Ginkel back. Held the Lions to 4.9 yards per play at home. That's not easy. Held them to 5 of 17 on third down, 1 of 3 in the red zone. 17th ranked pass rush, had 5 sacks and 11 quarterback hits. Now, Jeff Okudah is inactive, concussion protocol, and fullback CJ Ham is out with a hand injury. And the big thing for this offense is Ryan Kelly will begin working off the side practice this week. Remember, he said they could come back in week 10. That'll change a ton if they can get their Pro Bowl center back. Take it away here for us, Troy Torrence, Ravens, Vikings.
Jimmy, did Penny Sewell go down last game? Did he play the full game?
Yes, Penny Sewell is hurt. Penny Sewell went down.
He went down.
Amongst others.
Is he out this? And do you know at what point in the game he went down?
I have to go to my Lions breakdown.
I will figure it out. Don't worry about it. All right. Well,
grab it though.
Yeah, I absolutely love this spot. First of all, we got a market opening right where I wanted to open in the 3.5, 4 range, and with a total greater than 44, it makes that opening range even more profitable. I don't have to get into metrics. You guys know I love to fade these teams in this price range, especially if they're at home. And the Ravens team, this is my stallion right now. I plan on riding them to the promised land. I think I will bet them every single week until further notice, unless something drastically changes. Somebody gets injured. Who knows what that might be? But right now, I'm on the horse. I'm not getting off. I think we got what we expected last week with Lamar in his first game back. Lean on the rushing attack, ease Lamar back into the flow of the game, but test him enough to get him a little health check. At full strength, I truly believe this Ravens offense is the best in the league. Lamar Jackson, I mean, he's proven what he's been able to do with his mobility, ability to drive the ball downfield and make big explosive plays, great array of weapons with Flowers, Bateman, and Hopkins, 3 quality running backs to parlay with that. But the most important thing is the 2 tight ends that are both elite. In this 12 personnel that we see from this Ravens team, it's so hard to defend. This is my favorite strength of the Ravens. The rushing attack is just being able to play the 12 personnel and have those guys as weapons in the passing game. It's just extremely hard to defend it. It stresses the defensive coordinators out. I'm certain of it. So it's not a very similar situation to what these Vikings just seen, because they've seen an immobile quarterback that uses one tight end. I mean, the use of 12 personnel for the Ravens, I mean, it's a staple. But defensively is really where I've seen so much growth. We talk about it. Excuse me, man. I'm going to cough up a lung here.
Oh, no worries, man.
Yeah, man. This Ravens team, the defense is really where I see value, really where I still see progression, because like you said, the year-long statistical numbers just do not match what this team is putting out on the field every single week. I mean, obviously they've gotten healthier. Roquan, Van Noy, Hamilton, Humphrey. I've discussed this for the past 3 weeks. The two young DBs are developing quickly. I love the way what they're bringing to the table. Nate Wiggins and Malachi Starks, because them progressing and being able to do some things in the defensive backfield in the secondary allows Kyle Hamilton the freedom to move out of that safety position and to be put at the point of attack, like you called it. I think that was a great way to phrase it. And I think they've also done things recently that, I mean, it's clear as day. This is a different defense we're seeing. In weeks 1 through 7, the Ravens blitzed at a 25% rate. In that time frame, they generated 27 pressures, or 3.5 a game. In weeks 8 through 9, the Ravens moved Hamilton moved Hamilton away from the safety position, and they blitzed at a 35% rate. I mean, they basically moved them into the box. They're moving them all over the field. They blitzed at a 35% rate. They generated 22 pressures, or 11 per game. So from 3.5 pressures per game to 11 pressures per game. And the use of Kyle Hamilton into the Jackal, like you alluded to, is the biggest reason why. Look at the last 3 games. The Dolphins, they held them to 6. The Bears, 16. The Rams, 17. This is where the value still remains with the Ravens. It's on the defensive side. And then you got the Vikings, who I think they do not have a competent enough quarterback to execute O'Connell's vision. O'Connell's a great quarterback coach. He's a great offensive coordinator. But I don't think they have a quarterback on the roster that could deliver what he wants to do. I mean, I think so far, J.J. McCarthy has told us one thing, that he's not a starting NFL caliber quarterback. 4.4 yards per play against, this past week. I mean, obviously the Vikings won. It looks great on paper, but look at what McCarthy was able to do. 143 passing yards. His PFF grade was a 63. His yards per attempt, 5.7. His rating was 82.6, and his pressure to sack rate was 36%. McCarthy is the second highest pressure to sack rate in the NFL. That's one of the worst metrics you could have. And one of the metrics I suggest, if you're studying quarterback play, pressure to sack rate is one of the most important, because it talks about pocket presence, ability to deal with pressure. Do people, can they hold the moment in the pocket? Great quarterbacks can. McCarthy cannot. When blitzed, his 45%. When he's blitzed, he's even worse. 45% completion rate, 5-to-1 turnover-worthy play rate. For every one big-time throw, 5 turnover-worthy plays. 45% pressure to sack rate and a 42 passer rating. I want to target this bum, especially off this win. I want to watch what they did, the Vikings defense, but I guarantee you, I mean, Flores blitzes Goff at like a 60-65% rate. I'm sure he did the exact same. And the one thing I did see through a couple clips from some guys I follow on X is that Jahmyr Gibbs got exposed. He got absolutely exposed. He could not pick up the blitz. Jahmyr Gibbs allowed 7 pressures this past week, the most by any running back this season. And I wish he posted some prior seasons, because 7 pressures from Jahmyr Gibbs, that's terrible. Lamar Jackson, he has pretty shitty numbers this year. His passer rating versus the blitz is first in the NFL, 139. His completion percentage is first in the NFL against the blitz with 78%. His yards per attempt is second in the NFL behind Sam Darnold, 9.9 yards per play. I think the Ravens versus the blitz, you got the mobile quarterback. It adds complexity. On running downs, it could lead to massive holes, because you got to account for the quarterback and the running back. And on passing downs, if the blitz don't get home, the mobility, you could beat it with mobility, and you could beat it down the field. Lamar Jackson's fully capable. The market is perfect. We got to fade this Vikings team. Winning outright is a 10-point dog. The psychology of the public after watching this game, I don't feel like it could be, overemphasized enough. Watching the defense lock up the lines, it's a completely different matchup. The market's in great shape. I don't think, J.J. McCarthy rises to the occasion and takes my money. I'll be happy. I'll happily take my L. So Ravens -3, -120. I posted that on Sunday night. It's like these threes ain't going to be hanging around for very long. So I did get 3 different bets on 3 different books on the Ravens -3. I got the Ravens double result plus 120 this morning at Bet365 once I came back through on this game. And I got the Ravens Lions money line parlay and the Ravens Seahawks money line parlay, 2 games that we have later, but the Ravens are definitely the staple of that.
Ravens Lions and Ravens Seahawks. We'll go over those numbers when we reach those games. Do you think that the public is still heavily disbelieving McCarthy and the Vikings, or do you think that you are selling the high or selling the Vikings high?
I believe I'm selling the Vikings high because I think it's a completely different matchup, that the defense will not be able to play near the level they just played at. I think you got 10 more days for Lamar Jackson, who's going to be much healthier in this game. And I don't think that J.J. McCarthy had to do much to get the win this past week.
What do you think of the defense that we saw against the Lions?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be able to be reciprocated this week. So they took advantage of Sewell out at left tackle, and they took advantage of a running back that cannot pass block. He cannot pass protect. That won't be the case with the Ravens. I'm pretty sure they have the best the best pass blocking running backs in the NFL.
Very, very, very interesting. I am thinking that the public is going to take a bath on this one and focusing on a very sharp book at Circa. Circa opened it at 3.5, moved it to 4.5, and still with 80% of the tickets 83% of the tickets, 80% of the cash, moved it back to 4, which is a very interesting move here. Well, I'm going to have to sit with Troy's bullishness on the Ravens. We both have futures, a lot of futures invested in them. So it's important for them to keep winning. Troy on the Ravens -3, -120. Ravens double result plus 120. Ravens Lions moneyline parlay. Ravens Seahawks moneyline parlay. We roll on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern with the Cleveland Browns 2-6, 0-4 on the road at the New York Jets 1-7, 0-5 at home. We're at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey. 56 Fahrenheit, rain, 11 mile per hour winds. Take a look at the line history here for this one. This total just keeps dropping. Interesting. It got down to 36.5 this morning at 7:19 a.m. And now it's back up to 37.5. So I was if I wanted, I could have had the under 38. I chose not to at this point. I wanted to get through deadline day. I wanted a couple things to go through it and to cap it, but it's climbing again, predicated on the trades that the Jets have made, of which we will go over. From a point spread standpoint here, we have the Jets now a +2, a huge move after the trade. So the Jets open up -2 as a look ahead. It reemerges at -1, but it doesn't last there for 10 minutes until it hits a 2.5. Then it comes back to 1. This was a -1 at 12:57 p.m. before the trades were announced. And then the trades were announced, and that was a 3.5 point swing towards the Browns, a big swing towards the Browns. Fascinating, huge move towards the Browns. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We have Cleveland Jets, 73% of the tickets on Cleveland and 84% of the cash. 50-50 on the ticket count, but 64% of cash on the over. DG says, love the Jets and teasers. Will dare Cleveland on the road to win by margin. And AM says the wrong team is favored here. DG says Jets +3 would be a dream. He says, I might bet them anyways. Rant says Judkins should have a good day. Williams gone now. Now, there's a problem with Judkins, and we'll go over it because Browns coming off their bye week. So let's roll. Browns passing offense ranked 31st. Rushing offense ranked 18th. Red zone offense ranked 19th. They're scoring touchdowns, 57.1% of the time. Their third down offense, third worst in the NFL. They convert 33% of the time. Pass defense, let's talk about their defense. Pass defense ranked 8th and the number 1 rush defense in the league. It's number 1 pass rush in the league. They ranked 15th in red zone defense. They allow touchdowns 60.9% of the time. And their third down defense is 11th at 36.5%. A lot has changed in this bye week. They were last seen in that ugly 32-13 Week 8 loss at the Patriots. That game, there was some good. Myles Garrett did set a franchise single-game record with 5 sacks, but nothing else looked good. So he joins Reggie White and John Randall as the only players in history to record at least 10 sacks in 8 straight seasons since it became an official statistic in 1982. Garrett has 112 and a half sacks, past White for the most by a player under the age of 30. Dylan Gabriel threw his first 2 interceptions and was called for intentional grounding in the end zone. The story is that had Shedeur Sanders be healthy, he would have seen game time. The picks led to New England touchdowns. He didn't look good. In his 4 games as a starter, Gabriel has done nothing. He is only throwing short. So he's 70 of 104 on passes under 10 yards. In throws of 16 yards or more, he's 2 of 15. He is
Who's
throwing,
that, Jimmy? You said that was
This is Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
He is throwing 2 passes of 16 yards or more in 4 games that he started. On Sunday, only 2 of Gabriel's completions went to wide receivers. With Gabriel as a starter, the Browns have had a league-low 29% success rate on first down. That's 4 or more yards gained. And they've had an average of 7.8 yards to go on third down. So, a lot of people say, well, why was Flacco moved in the first place? Well, Flacco had horrific numbers. He had an NFL low 60.3 passer rating. He had the second worst completion rate in the league. He had 6 interceptions. So in comes Gabriel. Gabriel is the 3rd lowest passer rating in the league. It's much better at 75.8%. He is the 4th worst completion rate in October, just barely above what Flacco was doing at 59.4%. And throwing for 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So what has that done? Well, people are daring Gabriel to beat them. They know that there's only one person on the Browns team that can beat them, and that's Quinshon Judkins. So what happened against the Patriots? They filled the box. Not only did Judkins rush for 19 yards on 9 carries, but they hurt him. He hurt his shoulder. Tommy Rees is taking over as a play caller for Stefanski. It's what they were talking about through the bye week. There is good. Harold Fannin Jr. looks excellent. Jerry Jeudy has done nothing. Not only does he have a league-high 8 dropped passes, but he was targeted twice against the Patriots and had no receptions. The Browns are tied for second with 14 drops this year. Denzel Ward has looked terrible. I've never said that out loud before. He looked terrible. He allowed 6 receptions for 102 yards in that last game. His 100th NFL game. Cornerback Tyson Campbell's in concussion protocol. Safety Rayshon Jenkins with the groin injury. Linebacker Carson Schwessinger with the ankle injury. And then Quinshon Judkins' shoulder are all hurt. Schwessinger is high ankle sprain. He's the one who may not be able to come back into the lineup. And the Browns, who are favorites here, have been outscored by an average of 20.3 points per game on the road. Let's talk about the Jets. Passing offense ranked 22nd, rushing offense 20th, red zone offense 57.9% touchdown rate. Their third down offense 27th, getting conversions just 34.9% of the time. 20th ranked pass defense, 3rd worst rush defense in the NFL. Their red zone defense ranked 13th, third down defense ranked 9th, and their pass rush, who would have thunk that, ranked 27th. And now what have they done? They trade Sauce Gardner, and Quinnen Williams. These are great trades. They're great trades. They're getting 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick. They're getting wide receiver Adonai Mitchell and defensive tackle Mozzie Smith. Afterthoughts. It's certainly not going to help this year's football team, but it will help this team moving forward. They already traded cornerback Michael Carter to the Eagles for John Mechie III. The big problem is that Breece Hall wanted to be traded badly, and he was not traded. And they come in off their bye week. Last seen in a wild 39-38 victory at the Bengals. Offense struggled so bad under Tanner Engstrand, and this defensive struggled so much under Steve Wilkes. Take it away for us, Troy Torrence. Browns, Jets.
Oh, just thinking back to the beginning of this handicap, someone in the chat, I don't know who it was, but I made a note on it because it was a prominent person, I believe. Jets +3 would be a dream.
Dennis Garcia.
See, to a guy like me, to how I work, that sounds like an absolute nightmare. Road favorites that flip to dogs with a total that is less than 42 are 75% ATS. 77% straight up, 9-4 to the under. And the home team's going under 18.5 in all but one game in that entire sample. This is the type of market where the home dog that flipped from favorite to dog does not score points. And does that make a lot of sense to me? Kind of does. I mean, we'll talk about it, man. I mean, oh man, it's hard to not get hesitant after watching the Browns on the road and what they've been able to do. And I guess I should talk about this Patriots game, because you look at what Gabriel did in this game against the Jets. All you got to do is not turn the ball over, and the Jets should win this game, or they'll be in great shape in this game. Against the Patriots, they gifted 10 points with the turnovers, with the terrible field position. The man coverage that they deployed versus the Patriots, it worked. It held them to 7 for 12 passing with an interception and 4 sacks. It was the McDaniel scheme in the second half that really flipped the script in this last game. It forced the Browns into zone coverage, and then the Browns couldn't defend. They had to, switch the zone coverage to defend the outside run. Then they couldn't just defend the pass. I'm still bullish on this defense. I know the offense continues to falter. It's not all on the QB. I think the scheme is pretty soft. Like you look at Flacco, like someone mentioned, Flacco in Cincinnati, what he's able to do with 2 good weapons like Chase and Higgins. Not a lot of good weapons here. I think there should be a little NFL investigation into our guy, Jerry Jeudy, because his drops are just horrendous. A lot of times it's right in the breadbasket. And the narrative never changes. The offense incompetence obliterates the hope of the entire Browns team. And if I'm hesitant on the Browns, what can I be said about this Jets team who's coming off a win? Everyone drops 40 on the Bengals. Everybody. They needed to rush the ball for 254 yards to drop those 40 points. You think they could repeat that success against the best run D in the NFL? I don't think so. I believe the defense is in a great matchup for this Browns team. You got Fields at quarterback, who I think is incapable of producing anything above average as an NFL quarterback. And going from the Bengals to the Browns, like we talked about the contrast with the Broncos and the Texans, I think it's the same thing here. The bye week may have a little bit of a separation factor into it, but going from the Bengals to the Browns, I think it's going to be shocking. I don't know. I moved on this Browns team. It's not like I'm overly bullish on this spot. And you've split a unit with my suggestion, what I'm about to give. If you like it and you agree with me, the Jets defense, right? I mean, they're going to show signs of surrender. They're already starting to. We've seen what happened with this defense last year. They just got rid of Sauce Gardner. The Browns defense is going to be stout versus the run. I love the contrast, everything. I mean, I love the Browns. The market flipped. I'm on the Browns money line -134. And I got the Jets team total under 18.5 at -110. Like I was talking about, and I mentioned 18 because earlier in the cap with the market history, because only one team, all but one team has went under this, and they got there in the back door. So it could happen, right? The back door is always open with team totals and stuff like that. But yeah, I love it. I love the fact the low total, love the flip. I love this game, but it's just I am a little bit skeptical because what the Browns have done to me on the road this season.
Yeah, they've been atrocious on the road. I have some interest in the under too. I'm going to just watch it climb, I imagine. It's been climbing. The team total under 18.5, right? What was the VIG?
-110.
-110. I imagine we will be seeing Shadur at some point. I think that you pretty much have to. I wonder how high this total goes. Because clearly it's predicated on 2 guys that may or may not have wanted to be in that locker room on that field. Sometimes it's not as bad as it sounds getting rid of these key pieces. Sometimes. Drewski says Browns won't score 18 either. Did you have any interest on the under?
No. I just want the Jets team total under. I want the home team, the flip. It means something in this case. And you go look. I can't make a case for this Jets offense. Can't do it.
I'm interested in the under.
Why play around? At least I can make a little bit of a case for the Browns offense. The run game has been more consistent throughout the year, despite the one breakout versus the Bengals. And Dylan Gabriel, despite how terrible his numbers look, 8 drops. How many ever drops he had? Like he had 5 the other week. His
wide receivers aren't helping. I'm interested in unders here. I want to see how high it climbs. And I don't want Dylan Gabriel on the road. It's very difficult for me to. I mean, all you want is the Browns defense. And the Browns defense is very, very good. And everything that happened in the during the bye week from Myles Garrett was wonderful. If you heard, in still working video sessions, not going away on vacation, it was very, very impressive here. Let's roll on.
Guy. He's a high character guy. He's one of the stars that remains a high character guy and doesn't stoop to his to that level.
I am having a bit of a issue here on my with my notes. I'm gonna have to get this fixed here. Here we go. See if I can move this down. All right. Okay, having a bit of a computer issue with my pages and pages and pages of notes here. I'm gonna need a second here, if you don't mind. If maybe.
Do you want me to touch on something here?
Yeah, I guess what I'm gonna have to probably bounce out for a second and turn my computer off for a second. It's not letting me move into my notes here. I don't know what the hell's going on. So that means our next spot on the board, if you don't mind setting up here after Browns. And then I'm sorry about this, but
this is a good one. I could
Patriots, Buccaneers, and I'll be right back.
This is a good one that I could set up. All right, let me pull up some stuff so I could set up this game similar to how Jimmy the Bag would, but he is much better at laying the foundation. But the Patriots and the Bucs, this is a game I'm actually pretty bullish on. And I actually alluded to it earlier. I think the Patriots are in a situation where they're at the very top of the market. And looking at this number, I think it's fully reflected in this 2.5 with the Buccaneers at home. So right now you got the Bucs at 2.5 with 51% of the bets, 78% of the money on the spread, and 61% of the bet, 76% of the money on the money line on the Buccaneers. But usually at this point in the week, we know that it's really the sharp action. It's really experienced bettors that are coming and moving these lines early, betting into these markets. It's really later in the week where you start to see that public flood of money come in. On the spread, what have we seen from a line movement standpoint? I think, we've seen this move from a 3 down to a 2.5. Nothing has really changed. That 2.5 is juiced to -115. I think we're going to stay between 3 and 2.5. And the history of this market on the spread, on the side at least, is not very favorable for either side. There's ways you could dig into it, but I would say ultimately the market history favors the Patriots. So if I'm going to fade the Patriots in this spot, I would need an extraordinary amount of conviction. And I do have a lot of conviction in this game. I see some Bucs love in the chat. I know old E, my boy Ian from Tampa Bay, likes his Bucs here, and I like these Bucs too. The Patriots win by 1 this past week. The noise adjusted score was they lost by 1. And a common theme I notice is first down success rate for this offense has been horrible every single week. Week in and week out, we see a terrible success rate on early downs. And they still went 8 for 12 on third down, which is very impressive. And it tells me a lot about Drake May, who I've talked about being a staple quarterback in this league for years to come. And I back this Patriots team quite a bit. I hear my son out the door crying for me. So it's hard to focus right now. But yeah, I think this is a spot where we have to fade the Patriots. They just came off a win against the Falcons. They won by 1, noise cancel scored. I mean, they could have easily lost that game. They got the Browns 32-13 with Dylan Gabriel on the road who sold the bag with 2 picks that changed the course of the game. The Titans, they smacked them just like everybody does. The Saints, they beat 25-19. I mean, that's the second or third worst team in the NFL. The Bills, that was definitely their most impressive win of the season, but they caught them with their pants down in a great spot. I was on the Patriots on the money line. The Bills' defensive injuries were just too much for them to handle. They had 6 consecutive wins against not so tough competition. Now they're going on the road in a hostile environment against a Bucs team off a bye with an extended time, more time to prepare. How could you not like the Bucs in this situation? The Patriots have a lot of stuff going for them in this spot. Like I said, I back them quite frequently. Drake May, I mean, he is elite. You look at his spray chart, his ADOT, his advanced metrics, all of it suggests he's a dog. McDaniels, Vrabel, they're a great tandem. They're going to be dangerous in this league. But it's time to fade this team. They're at the top of the market. And I think we did it successfully last week with Atlanta. We did it the week before that unsuccessfully with Cleveland. But the fade train continues. Let's see what we got in the chat right now. Close game, Bucks wins. Susie Easton, you're good, Troy. I appreciate you. Jermaine, what you think? Oh, he's talking about OKC. I can't even read NBA banter because it makes me think about the NBA, which is basketball, which makes me sad. I don't want to see football go. DG, my guy, we agree on this one. Tampa Bay and under. I do agree with the under as well. I feel like the Patriots, they're just bumping up against their ceiling. They struggle to run the ball, leaving them one-dimensional offensively. They're 25th in run block, 32nd in the run category, and 25th in yards per carry. Their rush offense is not viable. They've been lucky to convert first downs at such a high rate, given their first and second down success rate, and their defense is vulnerable through the air. I trust Todd Bowles to put together a scheme to limit the Patriots on third downs. Welcome back, Jimmy.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Just too much going on. My computer just blew up.
All right, I'm bringing it to a ceiling. I'm bringing it to a ceiling right now.
Yeah, you crushed it.
I trust Bowles to put together a zone blitz scheme to limit the Patriots on third down. I trust the Bucs offense to generate points against what I consider to be a below average pass defense. The Patriots off 6 straight wins, going on the road after 2 home games. The strength of schedule for the Patriots per PFF, 32nd. This is I have the conviction to buy the Bucs in this market environment, despite the move from 3 to 2.5. Similar to the Colts and Steelers, not something I would do very often, but this is an outlier situation, and I plan on taking advantage. I bet the Bucs money line at -140.
Bucs money line for Troy at -140. That was a great breakdown. I apologize for leaving you like that, but great job. The 81 Fahrenheit chance of showers, as always in Tampa, 8-mile-per-hour winds. The Patriots still have real problems. A lot of that is masked with 6 straight wins. We faded them successfully last week. The worst rushing offense ranking in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. They're ranked 6th passing. Their passing looks very good. Red zone offense 18th, third down offense 8th, pass defense 11th, rush defense 15th, and then the worst red zone defense in the NFL, allowing touchdowns 75% of the time, but the 4th ranked third down defense at 33.7 and 15th ranked pass rush. You went over the noise cancellation.
Who was that, Jimmy?
That was the New England Patriots.
Oh, the Patriots defense is the worst, you're saying?
The worst red zone defense in the National Football League right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know why. I'm just chiming back in after reading some things, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers allow red zone attempts at the lowest rate in the league. So I would not be surprised if they were bad at defending the red. Okay, go ahead.
The Buccaneers are ranked 22nd right now. They allow touchdown 63.2% of the time.
But they're right behind Houston, and so is New England. I mean, these are top 3 teams and not allowing a lot of red zone attempts. So, yeah, they're not good when they get down there, but they don't allow a lot of teams to get in that red zone.
When I question, why did the Falcons get back in that game so easily? And the offensive line, first of all, for the Patriots looked really bad. They allowed May to get sacked 6 times. We watched Demario Douglas catch 4 for 100 and Travion Henderson, look good. 14 carries for 55 yards, caught 4 for 32. They averaged 4.9 yards per play against what we've deemed as a questionable Falcons defense. The offense did go 8 of 12 on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone. The defense was very good, but this is what they do. This is what the Patriots defense does. They held the Falcons to 1 of 10 on third down, but let them go 3 for 3 in the red zone. New England also, listen to this, is the only team in the NFL to not allow 50 yards rushing to a running back. 50. That is extremely impressive. Now
it is, and then I cashed on that with the multiple times this season. I bet 3 opponent rushing props under. This week it was Algier. He had 2 yards.
Exactly. It's a stat that's wildly interesting, and prop bettors must focus on it. Christian Gonzalez did leave the game with a head injury. He cleared concussion protocol. He could have come back in He could have, but they decided not to. Kayshon Boutte was ruled out. He has a hamstring issue. He's listed as questionable, and Christian Ellis also listed as questionable. For the Buccaneers here, coming off this much-needed bye week, this is still a mess. Statistically, their offense is bad. We know that's not the case. We know that this is predicated on injuries to key players, but the statistics tell us it's a bad offense. 19th ranked passing offense, 20th ranked rushing offense, 26th ranked red zone offense, 25th ranked third down offense. Their defense is middling. Pass defense 9th, rush defense 18th, red zone defense 22nd, third down defense 16th, pass rush 11th. I have them to win the division, and then I moved on them in the future market. They needed this bye week so badly. So this is the situation. They expect Mike Evans back in January, if at all. They think he'll be an addition at the playoff when they start the playoffs. Godwin is coming back from the fibula injury, probably about 3 or 4 weeks. Egbuka needed this break because the last 2 games, it's clear that the hamstring has been bothering him. They don't know if Jalen McMillan is coming back from a neck injury. Now, they say that Bucky Irving will be back soon. They don't say he's back this week. Now, right tackle Luke Gadecki and right guard Luke Haggard are expected to return. You know when they said? At some point. Now, some people think Gadecki and Haggard will be back this week, but again, you have to look at this injury report tomorrow, the Wednesday injury report. We know they lost Kalijah Kancey for the season. We thought they would maybe get into this trade market. They haven't. Hassan Reddick dealing with an ankle injury. This is a team that's third in sacks with 25 and tied for third with 12 takeaways. Who's doing it? Well, outside linebacker Anthony Nelson has been a monster filling in for Hassan Reddick. This is an injury report that must be studied. What Buccaneers team is coming back? Of all of those guys that I mentioned, I mean, Egbuka will be better. Do you think, like in your cap backing here, the Buccaneers, that Haggard and Gadecki will be back?
No, I didn't even account for that. Is the reason I didn't even worry too much about that is because I'm looking at the Patriots and how much pressure were they generating on some of these bad offenses, and I'm like, I still don't think we're going to see a lot of pressure being put on our guy. I mean, New England Patriots, they're towards their bottom 8, 9 in the league in terms of pressure rate against the weakest strength of schedule. I mean, that doesn't make a ton of sense now, does it?
I think it's a tricky situation here. I don't know what we have with the Bucs. You're coming off a bye that was so needed, and I completely don't know what we have. I was very interested to hear how bullish you were, and you moved on to 2.5.
I moved on the money line minus 140, and now I'm sitting here like, do I need to move on this first half money line? All I've become is more bullish since I've started this. Discussion. And is it that big of a deal if Bucky Irving comes back? I think Bucky Irving's, one of the top 3. I think he's actually the best running back in the NFL. So I do think he might make a big difference, but maybe not versus this specific opponent. So it's like, does that even matter? Do we need to learn more? And it's like the Patriots, they cannot generate pressure. I don't know. I'm thinking about adding more.
This is going to require more time for me. I did have interest in trying to get under this number though, at 48.5. The look ahead was 48, reemerged to 48.5. It's moved 5 cents to the under at 48.5. Did you have any interest in the total?
No, not so much because this is a very volatile price range, and at this number too, it goes way under or way over. And I could see, thinking back to some of these Bucs games, I could see it be going way under or way over. I think there's a lot of volatility in that total market.
All right, we have Troy on the Bucs money line. I'm interested in this under. It's not one I'm moving on tonight. It's one that I want to continue.
No interest in the Bucs though, because of the injury report.
I need to follow the beat writers. I need to know what the hell's going on. I was trying to get information, and they were just like, maybe back, could be back, might be back. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll be back. I need the Wednesday injury report. It's just too much going on with this Bucs team. There's no team in the NFL that needed a bye as bad as they did.
And I think I'm going to be adding first half money line, so I'll report back with the price. I'm betting it right now. I'm just looking for a best line.
All right, we have Troy adding to his Bucks position. Let's roll on. Next up, 1 p.m. Eastern with the New Orleans Saints 1-8, 0-4 in the road at the Carolina Panthers 5-4, 3-1 at home at Bank of America Stadium. Charlotte, North Carolina, 70 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 12-mile-per-hour winds. Let's get into the line history here for Saints Panthers. We have the totals of 40. The look ahead was 42.5. It reemerged at 40. So it has not moved since its reemergence. From a point spread standpoint here, we have the Panthers sitting -5.5. The look ahead was 3.5. And then when it reemerged as a 4. The 3.5 actually dropped to 3 before games were played. Reemerges at a 4. And now we're up to a 5.5. Cash flow wise here, we have 86% of the tickets, 81% of cash on Carolina, 80% of the tickets on the under, and 90% of cash on the under. Vincent Hawkins looking at first half under and full game under. And Luke Burrow says market public must be on the Panthers here. Nobody wants the Saints, especially after the injuries that they dealt with against the Rams. So yes, the public is all over Carolina. 86% of the tickets, 81% of the cash. We'll start with the Saints. Passing offense ranked 21st, rushing offense ranked 26th. Kamara's looked horrific. Red zone offense, second worst in the NFL, scoring touchdowns 41.7% of the time. Third down offense, 20th at 37.5%. Their pass defense ranked 18th. Rush defense is ranked 12th. They actually have some decent statistical profiles from their defense. Red zone defense 17th, third down defense 15th, and their pass rush is second worst in the NFL. It was an ugly 34-10 loss of the Rams. Noise canceled score was very similar, 37-15. Rams outgained the Saints 438-224. Tyler Shuck got the start, was 15-24 for 176 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Rashid Shaheed led receivers with 5 catches for 68 yards and was traded today to the Seahawks for a 26th, 4th, and 5th round pick. So Kamara looked horrific. He ran 6 times for 14 yards and lost a fumble. Taysom Hill led rushers with 4 carries for 30 yards. Should be used more. Saints were 2-9 on third down, 1-3 in the red zone. The Saints couldn't get stops and couldn't get the Rams off the field. This is hard to believe. Like, I don't remember writing another. The Saints had the ball for 16 minutes and 7 seconds. That's crazy. Absolutely nuts. They let the Rams go 9-16 on third and fourth down, 4-5 in the red zone. And, of course, the 31st ranked pass rush was quiet with 2 sacks and 4 quarterback hits. And then they lose their offensive tackle, Fuaga, week to week after sustaining a high ankle sprain. Also, tight end Jack Stoll, not as big of a problem, also sustained a high ankle sprain. Both are out. Nick says, now, do we trust Bryce Young? Let's talk about the Panthers. Passing offense ranked 26th, rushing offense 6th. Red zone offense 14th, third down offense 20th. Their pass defense ranked 13th, rush defense 23rd, red zone defense ranked 6th at 51.7%. It's pretty strong. Their third down defense is very weak, though. They allow conversions 43.5% of the time, and we have the third worst pass rush. So the second worst Saints pass rush against the third worst Carolina pass rush. Panthers coming off an extremely impressive 16-13 victory at Green Bay. Noise canceled score was 19-18 Packers. They were outgained 369-265 in the victory. Bryce Young was 11 of 20 for 102 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception in the victory. Tet McMillan had 4 catches for 46. Enrico Dowdle was a beast. 25 carries, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, also caught 2 for 11. Panthers were 6 of 12 on third and fourth down, 2 of 3 in the red zone, and the defense was good. Bent but didn't break. Held the Packers to 1 of 5 in the red zone. Pass rush had a sack and 6 quarterback hits. Trayvon Moehrig had an interception. But they lost their guard, Chandler Zavala. He left in the first half with an elbow injury. He's listed as questionable this week. We know they're already missing Robert Hunt. We talked about Brady Christensen getting hurt last week with Cade Mays. Now Tyler Mawton did return. The issues with the with the Panthers offensive line were such an issue. They were one of the things that pushed me towards the under. So the fact that they held this very tough Packers pass rush down was illuminating. I imagine that the Panthers, and I know you're buying them high if you want them, have a kick in their step and beat the New Orleans Saints comfortably. The problem is, can the Panthers beat anybody by margin? And yes, they can. We watched them beat the Falcons 30-0 at home. This line's moving heavily towards the Panthers. The question is, do we want to buy them high? Troy Torrence, take them away.
I go back and forth with this one as well. So, first of all, the market is bullish. Home teams in division that opened between -4.5 and -5.5 and closed between -6 and -7. So we still need that close. 8-2 ATS, 9-1 straight up, 6-3 to the over. But that could be offset if you want to look at the Panthers as home favorites since 2022, which has been 1, 2, 2.5 point spreads typically. They're 0-4 straight up, 0-4 ATS. The last one was Cowboys when the Cowboys were at the Panthers, and a different situation. So not sure how much you want to take. Just thought it was interesting. I wasn't able to watch this Panthers-Packers game on Sunday. There's work to do for me on this one. This Panthers team has been impressive, and it's really just looking at the resume. And Bryce Young, he looks clearly more comfortable in the pocket in previous seasons, evidenced by his touchdown interception ratio. But why is that? It's because the running game is really boosted his performance. The emergence of Dowdle cannot be taken lightly. The offensive line has been dominant, third in the run block category, which is pretty shocking. Very strong at the tackle position. They got the fourth best guard in the NFL per PFF. I think the offense has an identity finally. That's running the ball and then pivoting off of that. Defensively is really where I want to study this team. I mean, did they master the bend but don't break defense? Packers had 369 yards with only 13. They only allowed 1 for 5 in the red zone. Their 6th best red zone defense this season, like you touched on. They play zone coverage at the highest rate. Blitz at the 5th lowest rate in the NFL. This sounds like a prototypical bend but don't break style of defense. I'm going to watch Panthers on the film tonight. I'm going to watch Panthers film tonight. And the Saints are a team that I think they are who we thought they were. Bottom 5 in the NFL. Defense is better than advertised, but their inept pass rush, the most important element of defense, really limits their productivity. Shaw is a quarterback we need to learn more about. I mean, but the Saints team, they have a bye on deck. They have no playoff hopes. They're coming off 3 consecutive embarrassing losses. They're on the road where they've been absolutely awful, and they're in the running for the number 1 overall pick. I think the Panthers look at this game as we must win this game if we want to make the playoffs. So, yeah, I do think the Panthers are the side, but and I probably will be on them if we it's probably going to close at say above the 5.5. Oh, it's already at 6 at a lot of books. I mean, I think I project this to close 6.5 to be honest. And if that's the case, I do think that they're a viable bet.
I think they're a viable bet too. I think the double result at plus 105 is probably the best way to move on them at this point. And then I also don't really see how many points are scored. The Panthers, I know they put up 30-0 against the Falcons, but they're just not. This team is just not set up like that. So I think that the under would be in play as well. Digging says Panthers 1-8 against the spread as divisional home favorites. You're not going to find any edge or angle trend that will support the Panthers if you're looking at stats over the last few years.
If you're looking at team specific stats, because I give you one right now that says Panthers are a great bet.
This team is 5-4. I mean, you know who else is 5-4? The Chiefs. Wow. It's impressive. Digging says teams off less than 10-point underdog straight up win in the divisional game 14-30 against the spread. Look, I'm interested in backing the Panthers here. The one thing that you saw was this team is pumped up. They're excited to get to the facility. The Saints before a bye when they're 1-8, 0-4 on the road. Remember, I have the Saints under 4.5 wins at plus money and to have the worst record in the NFL. The Jets are the only one I think that could hurt that. I think this Saints team wants to go on vacation badly. And they're going to get that chance after losing to the Panthers. Does that mean I want them to cover the 6? Maybe. Honestly, maybe I do. And I didn't think I did. But maybe I do. This Saints team is just done. Absolutely done. I'm very interested in it. Okay, wasn't planning on that. So nothing for you here. And I guess I'm also interested in the under. I mean, I think I would probably just want a full game under. The Panthers will slow this down to a crawl. And I certainly don't want to have 4 units on the game, but I wouldn't hate it if I do. Dougie White says the Panthers have massively overachieved. They looked great at home, except for that game against the Bills. And again, I also don't even think I'm really betting on the Panthers here. Doesn't it feel like you're just fading the Saints before their bye week? Isn't this historically a spot when a team is 1-8 or 0-9 a week before they get to go away?
Yeah,
that they're just not locked in?
100%.
And then maybe they refresh and come back, and maybe you will have some interest in them off the bye. Okay, so I'm really this wasn't a plan at first. This market's been very bullish towards the Panthers. Am I buying them high? Yes. Yeah. And then I just look, we saw against the Rams, the Saints gave up. They had the ball for 16 minutes. No one wants to play for them. So I think it's a game that requires an investment. Let's talk about another game that required an investment. Let's move. Jacksonville Jaguars at Houston Texans, Energy Stadium in Houston, Texas. I have doubled up on unders in this one. I'm on the first half under 18.5 and the full game under 38. And I can, okay, good. I've seen one book, a sharp book, just moved to 37.5. That's what I want to see. Actually, though, it's becoming juiced to the over now. This was heavily juiced to the under a few hours ago. And then on the spread, we have Houston -1. They opened up the look ahead was 3. Of course, I was with a healthy CJ Stroud. And then when it reemerged at 8:09 p.m. on Sunday night, this was a -1. Since then, there's been a 5-cent move towards the Texans. Look, I understand how bad Davis Mills is. I understand. But the Texans defense is so good that even with Davis Mills, I think they can beat the Jaguars. I don't want to bet that. But I'm just so enamored with this defense right now. Cash flow wise in Jaguars, Texans, we have 88% of tickets and 90% of cash on the under. That's a lot. Circa is holding a flat 38. DraftKings is at a 37.5. Circa opened this up at 39.5, and it's down to 38. So I like all of that very much.
Does Stroud are you saying he's out for sure this game?
He's out. Now, they've not confirmed it, but if you listen to him talk or his mom talk, you'll be lucky if he comes back in 2 weeks. So, yes. Now, if Stroud came back, I still think I cash the under.
So do I. I just think it probably ticks back up to 40 and a half. Still stays below 41.
Stroud is not playing here. Stroud is not playing. Shout out to Sasha. Thank you for the kind words. I love that comment, man. That's a special one. My boyfriend and I watch you guys every week. Best 5 hours. As I go back, listen to multiple games, multiple times. Well spent. Thank you, Sasha. I love seeing that here. Where we're halfway through the battle, and thank you for that uplifting, energy pumping comment. Thank you. Let's talk about the Jags. Passing offense ranked 14th, rushing offense 14th, red zone 23rd. They score touchdowns 51.9% of the time. Third down offense 23rd. They convert 36.4% of the time. Their pass defense 17th, rush defense 9th, red zone defense 25th. They allow touchdowns 64% of the time. Third down defense 23rd. They allow conversions 41.8% of the time, and their pass rush is 23rd. I think their pass rush is actually worse than that. The Jaguars snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 30-29 overtime victory at the Raiders. Noise cancel score was 30-25 Raiders. Trevor Lawrence was battling an illness. I respect the fact that he stepped up. They were all talking about how ghost white he looked, how sick he looked. 23 of 34 for 220 yards, no touchdowns in the pick. He also ran 9 times for 24 yards and 2 touchdowns. But it was the second half. He stepped up. 11 of 15 for 120 yards in the second half in overtime. The Jags were without Travis Hunter. He hurt his knee in practice. He's on IR. Parker Washington led receivers with 8 catches for 90 yards. Brian Thomas was next with 3 catches for 55 yards. He didn't play in overtime because of an ankle injury. It's a low-grade, high ankle sprain. The Jaguars have optimism that he'll be able to play through the injury in Week 10. I'm not so sure. And if he does play, he's not going to be 100%. Travis Etienne ran 22 times for 84 yards, caught 5 passes for 31 yards. The offense did start rolling in the second half, 12 and 19 on third and fourth down overall. They dominated time of possession, 42-57, 26-47. They went 3 of 5 in the red zone. The defense did not look good. They allowed the Raiders to go 7 of 10 on third down and 3 of 4 in the red zone. This 23rd ranked pass rush was quiet. 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hits. Josh Hines-Allen, sack and a half. And it helped him pass Tony Bracken's franchise mark at 55.5, but he didn't look very good. And then Trayvon Walker was ejected with 6:29 left in the third quarter. That hurt their defense. He threw a punch at Stone Forsythe. Now, what has he done this year? I mean, we watched 20.5 sacks over his first 2 seasons. He's got 2 this season. Monteric Brown had an interception. Cam Little broke the NFL record with a 68-yard field goal at the end of the first half. Devin Lloyd, their linebacker, is out with the calf injury. He's questionable to play. He's not being put on IR. Jordan Lewis, a cornerback, was injured in the first quarter. He's listed as questionable this week. And Johnny Brown, concussion protocol, was injured in the fourth quarter. It doesn't matter how bad the Jaguars' defense is. The Texans' offense won't be able to do much with Davis Mills at quarterback. Let's not like the stats with CJ Stroud. This is the worst red zone offense in the NFL, scoring touchdowns 36.4%. This is the second worst third down offense in the NFL. That's with CJ. With Davis Mills, it's horrific unless you bet unders. It's magical. Pass defense ranked 7th. Rush defense ranked 14th. Pass rush ranked 2nd. Third down defense ranked 3rd. Now, the LA Rams are arguably a better defense, but that's it for me. These are the best 2 defenses in the NFL, the Rams and the Texans. They're coming off a tough, costly 18-15 loss at home to the Broncos. Noise canceled score was 17-17. Stroud knocked out of the game with a concussion in the first minute of the second quarter. You know what happened. I mean, and look, Troy, you're a football player. He hesitated. And he who hesitates gets injured. And he could have cut left and ducked right and gone for 20 yards. He thought about it, and then he's like,
ran out of time.
Maybe I'll slide. And it was a completely legal hit that knocked him out. You can't hesitate. Davis Mills came in, struggled to move the offense. 17 of 30 for 137 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Schultz caught 6 for 77. Nico Collins returned from a concussion to catch 7 for 75. 3 of 17 on third down. 0 of 3 in the red zone. They punted 6 straight times after that field goal made it 15-7 on their first possession of the second half. The defense did all they could to keep the Texans in it, held the Broncos to 6 of 15 on third down, offered them 1 red zone attempt, which the Texans stopped. Pass rush had 1 sack, 4 quarterback hits. But more problems. Well, Kalen Bullock had an interception, but Christian Harris missed the second half with a shin injury. Very important linebacker. Offensive lineman Titus Howard left in the first half. He's in concussion protocol. Defensive end Darrell Taylor injured his ankle in the third quarter. All 3 are listed as questionable this week. What's the final score of this game? Is this a game where you take no team to score 20 points? I've thought about adding that here into my action as a little bonus to my first half under and full game under. And I think that the Texans can beat the Jaguars with Davis Mills at quarterback. But I don't want to bet that. Take it away, Troy.
I think that there is a chance CJ Stroud is in this game. And I don't think it matters as it relates to the spread. Or to the total.
His mom did say he'll be back in a couple weeks.
Because if he was out, what number are we going to be looking at when he gets announced out then?
This is out. He's out. Like everything I looked at, they're like, yeah, we're hoping he comes back in a couple weeks. This is the number with Davis Mills going up against Trevor Lawrence, I believe. That's why I moved on it.
Well, PFF has Stroud still in the lineup. You look at the team's records. You can look at what they've done this season. This is completely a reasonable line with Stroud in question. Oh, I'm not ready to say that Stroud's going to be out of this game just based on this market alone, because I think that Davis Mills, we'd be looking at a +2.5 on this Texans team, +2. I know the defense has been great. I just don't know. The market in its current state, the database history says under all the way. And I think if anything in this game, I would be looking to bet the under. I just don't know. I can't go cap this game because I think CJ Stroud might be in. You think he might be out. This is just one that I think I have to. You think he is out? I
would bet heavily. He's not this. Look, CJ Stroud is a young quarterback who sobs on the field when his friend goes down with an injury. He's a young quarterback who's not going to rush back The interviews and pictures are him with his mom thanking everybody for their prayers. Does that sound like a guy who's going to bounce back immediately? This is just not that guy. He's not that guy. But, that's what I believe.
Dougie, I mean, if anything, you could argue that it either opened where it currently is or it moved towards the Texans. That's how I would see it. So I'm out on this game. I don't have an opinion. I do think it goes under. I think you're on the right side, and I might be joining you before the end of the week.
First half under and full game under. And I think I'm going to bet no team to score 20 if it's, if it gives me a real nice plus score. I'll see what it is. I'll take a look here during the show, honestly. Not really, Dougie wise. The look ahead was 3. So it did open at 1, which I think is the right number, Troy. If you gave me a $3,000 bet, Davis Mills and the Houston Texans at home against this Jaguars team, I would go up to the window and put it on the Texans.
Me too. Except not if it closed at plus 2.5, and that's where I go back and forth. I think that in division, in this price range, like it's all under, man. It's all under. I think the under is the best way to play this game. I won't even worry about the side. I'll be looking towards the under.
Yeah, I'm on the under. First half under 18.5, full game under 38 in Jaguars Texans. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. We hit afternoon action, 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Arizona Cardinals 3-5, 2-2 on the road at Seattle Seahawks, 6-2, 2-2 at home. Lumen Field, Seattle, Washington. 56 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 6 mile per hour winds. I think that my Rams futures are in trouble because Seahawks are very good. This line, the look ahead was 6. It reemerged Monday morning at 10:40 at 7. Moved a half point towards Arizona at 6.5. We get to the total here for this one. We have this sitting right now at 45.5, juice to the under. The look ahead was 44.5. Reemerged Sunday night at 43.5. Interesting. And then it started climbing fast. 45.5, 46.5, back to 45.5. Well, I didn't realize that. Now, you guys know me and NFC West football, divisional games, unders. And I still might get there. It's just tricky when you see the total climbing so quick. If you look at the books that have moved it to 46, thankfully, Circa opened it at 46.5, so I don't need to get too nervous about that. But I want the under in this football game. It's just there's some elite wide receivers in this game. It's different. It just feels different. Every time I don't bet an under in an NFC West game, it goes under. 94% of tickets, 92% of the cash is on Seattle. A huge amount of money on them. Let's talk about the spot. Talk about the Cardinals. Passing offense now ranked 11th. We got word today that Kyler Murray is not coming back for 4 to 8 weeks. So they said, the one article I read said he's coming back week 14th at the earliest. So get used to the Jacoby Brissett train here. Rushing offense ranked 27th. Red zone offense ranked 15th. Scoring touchdowns 58.1% of the time. This is a 4th-ranked third down offense in the league, converting 45.9% of the time. And I talked about it, the pass defense, before the Cowboys game when I was trying to get on the under, an under that I never got on. They were ranked 12th. After what they did to the Cowboys, this is now ranked 6th. The 6th-ranked pass defense. Rush defense ranked 26th. Red zone defense ranked 12th, 57.1%. Third down defense ranked 10th, 36.1%. Is it time that we start saying the Cardinals have a good defense? Now, their pass rush is ranked 26th. Cardinals coming off a short week after an impressive 27-17 victory at Dallas on Monday night. Snap a 5-game losing streak. One for just the second time in their last 18 games when Kyler Murray didn't take at least 5 snaps. The noise-canceled score was 28-23. Cardinals a little closer, but they're still in control. Jacoby Brissett, 21-31 for 261 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's the starter for the time being. Brissett has thrown for 860 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception in 3 games. Wow. Marvin Harrison caught 7 for 96 in a touchdown. Demercado ran 14 times for 79 yards, 7 of 13 on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone. The defense was excellent. Held the Cowboys to 5 of 12 on third down, 0 of 3 on fourth. Cardinals held the Cowboys to 1 of 3 in the red zone. Pass rush was strong. 5 sacks and 9 quarterback hits. Denzel Burke had an interception. Now, Max Melton left with a concussion. He's in concussion protocol. He's questionable this week. So is linebacker Mac Wilson. Obviously, 2 important pieces here. The mighty Seahawks, first passing offense in the NFL, just adds Rashid Shaheed. 7th ranked rushing offense. 3rd ranked red zone offense. 22nd ranked third down offense. Look at this defense. 10th ranked pass defense. 5th ranked rush defense. 12th ranked pass rush. 9th ranked red zone defense, allowing touchdowns 54.2% of the time. 12th ranked third down defense. Very complete football team. This is a dangerous football team. It scares me because I'm in such an incredible spot with my Rams futures, except for this fucking football team. Coming off a dominant 38-14 victory at Washington on Sunday night. Noise canceled score was very interesting. 29-22 Seattle. They outgained the Commanders 418 to 290. It's shocking that it said 29-22 Seattle to me, Troy, because the Seahawks averaged 8.7 yards per play, and they allowed the Commanders 4.7 yards per play. You'd think that would be a dominant type, noise canceled score. Darnold was 21-24 for 330 yards, 4 touchdowns and a pick. He completed his first 17 passes. At halftime, he's 16 for 16 for 282 and 4 touchdowns. Good God. 4th quarterback since at least 1991 to throw for 4 touchdowns before his first incompletion. The others, Lamar Jackson in 2019, Tannehill in 2015, Brady in 2007. Jackson Smith in the Jigba is a beast. 8 catches for 129 yards. Tied my guy Steve Largen's franchise record with his 6th 100-yard receiving game of the season. I mean, JSN has Darnold throwing to him. Largen had Dave Craig throwing to him. So they add Rashid Shaheed. Kenneth Walker led the ground game with 11 carries for 42 yards, caught 2 for 19. Seahawks 7-11 on third down. Were 2 of 2 in the red zone. Held the Commanders, as I said, to 4.7 yards. The Commanders were 7 of 15 on third and fourth down, but they did allow the Commanders to go 2 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush was strong. 4 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Now, Josh Jobe is in concussion protocol, and Ernest Jones, who's so important, and it's going to be so important in this game, he left the game with a knee injury. Both are listed as questionable. Cooper Kupp inactive and listed as questionable this week. Take it away here for us, Troy. Cardinals, Seahawks.
So I actually think this market shows a bunch of strength in favor of the Seahawks because I agree with you. From what we've seen from this Cardinals team, this is a completely competent football team that keeps games close. But home favorites that open and close between -6 and -7 are 28 and 22 ATS, but 42 and 11 on the money line. That's 79%. With the total greater than 44, 12 and 11 ATS, but 22 and 4 straight up on the money line. Divisional home teams in this market type, 14 and 2 straight up, 88% on the money line. Fact of the matter is, I love the Seahawks to win this game. I don't know about the ATS. It does kind of profile a lot of the profiles you go through. In this market, history suggests the Seahawks win but don't cover, which is extremely interesting, and it opens up some incredible, non-correlated parlay SGPs that I am thinking about going official with here because there's the results of these games in this market are so clustered just below the 6. It's just incredible. So I'm looking towards the Seahawks team on the money line. I put them in a money line parlay with the Ravens. I'm looking for more. I think that this is probably the most well-rounded and fully capable defense in the NFL. When I say well-rounded, it's just at every single level. You got McDonald. He's a fantastic coordinator. He wants to play cover 4, which is a huge plus in my playbook. And the secondary for the Seahawks team is I'm starting to think it's the best secondary in the NFL. They got Tariq Woolen, who has a 63% lockdown rate. A lockdown rate's judged by no separation. How many yards of separation? Less than a yard of separation. It's a lockdown snap. Josh Jobe, 60% lockdown rate, no separation. That's 2 DBs in the top 5. Eamon Warrior is the second coming of Kyle Hamilton. This guy's young. He's very capable. He's 6'3", 227. He can play in the box. He can defend the run. He's great in coverage. Devon Witherspoon, 5th overall in 2025. I mean, he's the 4th best cornerback. He's 5th overall pick. Excuse me, 5th overall pick, 4th best cornerback in the league per PFF. Another guy that is good against the pass and the run. That's the best part about the cover 4 is these DBs, depending on what the number 2 receiver does, has the ability to defend against the run. The 4 down linemen are above average from left to right across the board. They generate pressure at the 4th highest rate while blitzing at the 2nd lowest rate. This defense is elite, which makes me love the contrast effect going against the Cowboys defense to going against the Seahawks defense. It's night and day. It's like the Texans Broncos game last week that I talked about that came to fruition. Honestly, we didn't get the cash, but I love the contrast effect. The offense, what could be said? I mean, Darnold, he's the number 1 QB in the NFL by many measures. An 11.2% pressure to sack rate with a quarterback that's not mobile. That is damn impressive. Jackson Smith, the Jigbo, he's right behind Puka Nacua, in my opinion, is the best wide receiver in the NFL. The elite ball skills, the explosiveness. Good luck trying to play press coverage against this guy. He can run the entire route tree. The offensive line is slightly above average, but the 2 quality tackles pull the whole, elevates the entire unit. And like the Seahawks have been one of the best teams in the NFL. The Cardinals have outperformed expectations. I know they have been taking losses. They got a win last week, but I think that they have been pretty damn good. But they're, like I said, the contrast between Cowboys D, Seahawks D, it's a very favorable factor in my opinion. The Cardinals still face resistance against Dallas's defense, only 5.2 yards per play. I think that's the worst mark of the year against this Dallas defense. And I think the Cardinals offensive, the Cardinals is in for a wake-up call. I think the offense is kind of where I would like to attack and why I like the Seahawks, because the defense, I mean, they do enough to keep this team in games. It's not good when you look at success rate. Like, they're allowing teams to move the ball in between the hashes, in between the 40s, but they've been stout in the red zone. They're pretty reliant on just 4 players. I mean, Sweat, Campbell, the D-line, Will Johnson at corner, Buda Baker at safety. They got some damn players. I just think the Seahawks get the ground game going. I can't imagine Arizona generates too many stops with the use of play action if they can generate that ground game. And I want to fade the Cardinals offense with that contrast effect. And like I said, I mean, I can give you so many metrics, so many profiles here. I'm on the Ravens in a money line parlay. I'm very confident in the Ravens. That's why I paired them together. And I'm interested in betting this more.
Yeah, I get it. Let's just take a quick run through of the Seahawks home games. This is margin. Are we sure they're going to win by? I mean, basically, you need to win by more than 1 score here in a division game with Brissett and playing the way he is, best we've ever seen him play. You have 94%, 92% of the cash on the Seahawks. They beat Houston by margin, 27-19 at home. They lose to Tampa Bay by 3 at home. They destroy New Orleans and they lose to San Francisco. This is a team that's 2-2 at home. I mean,
why are they so generous with this number, right? The Cardinals, have they lost any games by more than 6 points?
Let's go over the.
No, they haven't. They lost by 4, by 1, by 3, and by 1.
Well, yeah, that 5-game losing streak was by 13 points.
13 total.
And then you have to ask yourself, well, we know that Ernest Jones is a phenomenal coverage linebacker. His knee's barking. And can Job, after a Sunday night game, clear concussion protocol? Because you might have Pritchett there.
Yeah, I don't think Job's clear.
I don't know. I'm now, do I want to buy the Cardinals high? Probably not.
This is buying high on the Cardinals, in my opinion.
But do we see the Seahawks beating them by 10 points?
I do. I could totally see it happening.
Peanut says that Vegas wants you to take the Cards here. I'm a little skeptical of that just because, Circa opened this up at 7. 89% of the tickets and 81% of the cash are on the Seahawks. They moved it to 6.5.
Bullish line movement, historically speaking, but I have 6.5 open, which makes it even better.
Yeah, I guess this game's going to need more time. I just think that these two offenses are so electric. I'm not used to that in the NFC West showdown between these two teams. One of the reasons, remember when I was saying we don't have proof of the Cardinals going under with Brissett at quarterback. All the proofs with Kyler Murray at quarterback. They're an under team. And that also kind of made me leave money on the table, not being on the under. Dougie Wise says he will be teasing Seattle. And we have the Seahawks Ravens money line parlay. And what was that at? What's that number?
That's minus 122.
Seahawks.
So it's pretty much priced like a teaser.
Yeah.
But you get the Lions on the money line. Or no, excuse me, the Ravens and it's the Hawks.
Digging says Seahawks price between -4 and -7 in division, 0-4 against the spread, losing by 10 on average. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at this point. Like, this isn't going to be bet tonight. A lot of these moves I make on Tuesday night, this won't be one of them, but I'm certainly going to keep my eye on it and keep working on it. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 4:25 p.m. Eastern, LA Rams 6-2, 3-1 on the road at San Francisco 49ers, 6-3, 2-1 at home at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. 70 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 3-mile-per-hour winds. It certainly feels as if Purdy's not coming back anytime soon. Now, I could be so wrong about that. They could have kept him out just so that he'd be ready to go against the Rams. It's such a legitimate possibility. But this turf toe, they're basically saying, we don't want to take a step back. There's not enough time left in the year, really, for him to have to sit on the shelf. So I don't know what the hell's happening with Purdy, and obviously it's must-know information. The Rams' look ahead was 3. While it was a look ahead, it moved to 3.5. Then it moved back to 3. It was still a very juiced 3 at the point. And then we see the reemergence very late Sunday night at 3, heavily juiced, and it kept getting more juiced. It went from -115 to 117 to 120 to 125 to 3.5. Now the 3.5 is juiced. Rams are getting bet, and the market's moving on them. And we know what the 49ers did to them. It was October 3rd. And the 49ers went in LA and shocked everybody and beat them outright. It's like 9-point dogs with Mac Jones at quarterback. The look-ahead total was 49. Now we have a 49.5. And when we get to the cash flow here for Rams, Niners, we have 60% of tickets, 60% cash on the Rams, 57% of tickets on the over, and 59% cash on the over. Let's talk about the Rams. I think they're an incredible football team. Their passing offense ranked 2nd. Rushing offense ranked 19th. Rushing offense is getting higher rankings every day now, every week, I should say. Red zone offense 13th. Third down offense 16th. Matt Stafford's being spectacular. But when you back this team, you're backing their defense. Passing defense ranked 3rd. Rushing defense ranked 2nd. Red zone defense ranked 2nd. Third down defense ranked 2nd. Pass rush ranked 7th. Only the Texans could battle the Rams in my feelings for the best defense in the NFL. They're coming off a dominant 34-10 victory over the Saints. Noise-canceled score was 37-15. Outgained the Saints 438 to 224. And I told you guys, they won the time of possession 43 minutes and 53 seconds to 16:07. Stafford was 24-32 for 281, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He, in his past 5 games, has thrown for 1,408 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. He will be a finalist for most valuable player. Puka Nacua caught 7 for 95 in a touchdown, his return from an ankle injury. He went to the locker room in the third quarter. He hurt his ribs, was tackled on a jet sweep. They think he's okay. He came back to the sidelines in the fourth quarter. He said he could play, but it wasn't necessary. But keep an eye on it. Devontae Adams got 5 for 60 and 2 touchdowns. Kyron Williams ran 25 times for 114 yards in the touchdown. 9 of 16 on 3rd and 4th down. 4 or 5 in the red zone. And this defense. The last 3 opponents have combined to score 20 points. 20 against this incredible Rams defense. Held the Saints to 2 of 11 on 3rd and 4th down. Held the Saints to 1 of 3 in the red zone. Now, the pass rush was quiet with a sack and 2 quarterback hits, but the Saints rarely had the ball. Manuel Forbes had an interception. 49ers passing offense ranked 10th, rushing 22nd, red zone 20th, and third down offense is 3rd somehow because of Shanny's brilliance. Pass defense ranked 26th, rush defense 22nd, red zone defense 8th, 53.6%, third down defense 18th, 39.3%, pass rush 25th. They're coming off a 34-24 victory at the Giants. Noise canceled score was 30-25, and Purdy was questionable with turf toe and then inactive. So it's very unclear whether he'll be able to play. Now, if Shanny was keeping him off the field just to make sure he played against the Rams, that seems like something he would do. Mac Jones was 19 of 24, 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He did lose a fumble. He also completed his first 14 passes. 49ers ran the ball down the Giants' throat 39 times for 159 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that will be much more difficult against the Rams' second-ranked rush defense. McCaffrey ran 28 times for 106 yards and a touchdown, caught 5 for 67. Niners were 7 of 12 on third down, 4 of 5 in the red zone. Allowed the Giants to go 5 of 12 on third down, 2 and 3 in the red zone. And this pass rush just continues taking a beating. 11th overall pick, Michael Williams, tore his ACL, done for the year. Nick Bosa, done for the year. Yetur Gross-Matos on IR. They're praying that Bryce Huff can return for this one. He's listed as questionable this week with a hamstring injury. I don't know how many more hits this defense can take. How are we not on the Rams here? Troy, take it away.
I am all over the Rams. This is one of my favorite spots. This is one of my absolute favorite markets. You can absolutely not poke any holes in it. Open and close 3.5. You already know 30 and 13 ATS. That's 70%. 36 and 12 straight up, 75%. This is a 3 and 3.5. This is the most ideal spot. The total is greater than 44. 21 and 7 ATS, 75%. 24 and 6 straight up. All these trends to the under. However, in the division, that comes down to 9 and 5 ATS, 11 and 4 straight up. But if the sharp action of the bigger bets are on the road team, which they are currently in this situation, 6 and 1 ATS, 7 and 0 straight up. And if the percentage of cash on the road favorite is over 60%, it turns into an undefeated profile. It's one of the market environments I am going to bet as frequently as I possibly can. All I need is a little bit of the matchup or the situation to favor that side, and I think we have both. In this case, I think that this is max play worthy. Dougie put it in chat, and I agree with him completely. I think we should start off with game 1 of this season, right, where the 49ers won by 3 points in overtime. The Rams won the noise adjusted score. The 49ers had 4.9 yards per play. The Rams had 7.1 yards per play. The Rams fumbled on 2 drives that went into the red zone. The second one was in the fourth quarter from the 1-yard line. I lost a hefty amount on that game, on that Rams game, and I think it was a complete fluke. The Rams were surprised by Mac Jones, if anything, especially early in that game. And you got to give credit to Shanahan. But I don't think this defense is going to be fooled twice. I don't think there is a lot much more that he could pull out of his hat. What happened in the second half of that game? Punt, field goal, punt, field goal, punt, field goal, punt. I think we see a completely different story this time around. The Rams defense, we already talked about it. There's only 2 defenses at the top of the charts. It's the Rams, it's the Texans. The field shrinks and a 4-man pass rush becomes even more prevalent. Well-coached defense. They blitz at the eighth lowest rate, but pressure at a top 10 rate. Verse and Young howling off the edge, and Poona Ford bull rushing up the middle. It makes it extremely difficult. And he shuts down all inside zone schemes. I think Poona Ford is one of the best run-stopping defenders in the NFL. And that's crazy to say. We don't talk a lot about Poona Ford. The Rams offense, tops of the league, elite coaching, play calling weapons. I don't need to get into much of that because you got a quarterback that can execute McVay's vision. I think this is a great opportunity. The public just cashed on this team last week. We want to fade them off their win against the Giants with a rookie quarterback, no neighbors, no dart. They lost badly to another good defense and pass rush in the Texans. They beat the Falcons, who are, we're learning has more and more problems down the road. And they beat this very Rams team. I mean, this 49ers team is a fade, in my opinion. Good coaching is only going to take you so far especially when you're up against a great coaching staff on the other side. We got to fade Mac Jones and the 49ers off a win. A Rams team who's already seen the bag of tricks and what they want to do with them. This is a Rams spot. I'm on the Rams -3, -120. I put it in Discord on Sunday night. And I want more. I want more with this Rams team. I just don't know exactly. Oh, I do have a money line parlay with this as well. I have Rams Bills money line -120. That was with the Bills. So I have Rams Bills money line -120. I think I want to add 2 more bets. Do I do the double result? Do I just take the money line and just pay a big price? I think it's worth it, or at least worth a consideration.
Certainly worth a consideration. I kind of want 60 minutes. If we're dealing with the 49ers team that's hurting, and I think I want as much time as possible to beat them into the ground. So I was not planning on moving on a double result in this one. I was just planning on hitting the full game harder. Now, of course, for our record keeping, it'd just be a unit, but I like it. I like the spot. I like the Niners coming off the win, although that was one of my 3 losses on the Giants last week. And yeah, I'm right with it. And I do fear, though, what the market's telling us about this over. The look ahead was at circa was 48.5. It comes back on Sunday night at 47.5, moves to 48.5, moves to 49.5, and this afternoon moved to 50.5. And that is bullish. It's hard not to act like that isn't. So, but generally speaking, I would want to be on the under here. So I think, Dougie Wise, this is his first 3-unit spot here. He also has a Rams-Ravens moneyline parlay. Maybe the way to do it is for me, because now I'm not trying to talk you off the double result, but I think when you're dealing with an injured football team, you want all 60 minutes to pummel them. So I think the Rams would be a moneyline parlay, would be the way to add a second unit.
And I already got that, So it's like, where do I go from here? In the NFC West, home dogs between 3.5. Home dogs 2-9 ATS, 1-12 straight up.
Oh yeah, no, I think this is a smash and grab. What was the cash flow one more time here? Is it? No, it's fine. 60 and 68. People always like home dogs for whatever reason. All right, I'm moving on it here. You already have the Rams -3, and you got that at -120?
I got it at -120, correct.
Yeah, it's going to cost me a little more than that.
And this is a spot that I'm ready to cough it up, and I'm ready to pay a big number.
Londo says he would go under that. Generally, I would too. It's so bullish to see a book like Circa moving it that fast. I don't really want to get in the way of that. Again, historically with these divisional NFC West games, it opens up at 43.5 and closes at 41. And you know what's going to happen. This is a little different. Let's roll on, but I'm with you. I'm going to move on that tonight. 4:25 p.m. Eastern with the Detroit Lions 5-3, 2-2 on the road at the Washington Commanders, 3-6, 2-2 at home. Now, I hammered the under 9.5 wins for the Commanders. That was predicated on what happened with Stroud and D'Amico Ryans in week 2. Obviously Jaden Daniels' injuries is going to make that just the easiest casher ever. He dislocated his elbow. He's going to be gone for a long while. They haven't called him out for the season yet, but that could be coming. Let's take a look at this line history here. Mariota back in effect. We have this total at 49.5. It opened, or the look ahead was 51.5, and then it emerged at 49.5. It hasn't moved since it reemerged. From a point spread perspective here, we have the Commanders +9. The look ahead was 3.5. Comes back out at 9. Since it opened up at 9, there's been a 5-cent move to a very angry Detroit Lions squad. Taking a look at the cash flow here, we have 95% of the tickets, 94% of cash on Detroit. We don't have total information at this point. We're in Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland. 63 Fahrenheit, mostly sunny, 9-mile-per-hour winds. Lions have the 20th ranked passing offense and the 27th ranked rushing offense. Is that not nuts? Is that not just crazy? Red zone offense is 6th. They can score touchdowns 68.8% of the time. Third down offense 25th. They convert 36.3% of the time. Pass defense 5th. Rush defense 4th. Pass rush 3rd. It's crazy that this Lions team now you're buying in on them for their defense, not their offense. Red zone defense 21st. They allow touchdowns 63% of the time, and third down defense 13th, allowing conversions 37.1% of the time. Jim Dewigger here on Washington +9. It's a buy low spot, I guess, on both, Jim. The Lions coming off their bye week, and they came out of their bye week and laid an egg in that 27-24 home loss to the Vikings. Noise canceled score was 22-21. Goff was 25-37 for 284 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Digging saying Lions are 12-0 against the spread off a loss. That's the Campbell way. Jared Goff, was running for his life. He was sacked 5 times. That's rare to see the offensive line look that bad. Sammy Laporta led receivers with 6 catches for 97 yards, touchdown to Monra. St. Brown, the Sun God, had 9 for 97, and the running game struggled mightily. Montgomery and Gibbs combined for 20 carries for just 65 yards and a touchdown, caught 5 passes for just 13 yards. Montgomery lost a fumble. The offense was held to just 4.9 yards per play. Finished 5 of 17 on third down, 1 of 3 in the red zone. Their third-ranked pass rush was strong. They sacked McCarthy 5 times, hit him 9 times. The defense held the Vikings to 4.4 yards per play, allowed the Vikings 5 forays into the red zone. Vikings cashed 3 of them for touchdowns. Terry Arnold had an interception. And the problems. Guard Christian Mahogany was carted off the field with a knee injury midway through the fourth quarter. Dan Campbell says he hopes he can return in late December. Guard Tate Ratledge, he left the game with a shoulder injury, but Rutledge is not on the injury report. But as you talked about, Penny Sewell and Taylor Decker are, and they're listed as questionable this week. 2 important tackles, and cornerback Kirby Joseph was inactive, still dealing with that knee injury. The Commanders, passing offense ranked 7th, rushing offense ranked 10th. I mean, we don't believe any of that. Red zone offense ranked 2nd, third down offense ranked 15th. Don't believe any of that. Their pass defense ranked 31st, second worst in the league. We believe that. Rush defense ranked 6th. I'm surprised by that. Their red zone defense 26th, third down defense 21st, pass rush 18th. Commanders coming off an ugly 38-14 loss at home to the Seahawks. Now the noise canceled score was much better, 29-22. The Commanders were outgained 418 to 290, and Jaden Daniels was struggling all night and then got hurt badly in the fourth quarter. It's too bad. He was 16-22 for 153 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. Also ran 10 times for 51 yards and a touchdown. But it gets worse. Wide receiver Luke McCaffrey, fractured collarbone on IR. Then we have Marshawn Lattimore, MRI on Monday, confirming a season-ending ACL tear. He is gone. Now, Ertz led receivers with 4 catches for 46. Rodriguez led running backs with 12 carries for 65 and a touchdown. The defense looked awful. Seahawks put up 8.7 yards per play. The 18th ranked pass rush was completely invisible. 0 sacks, 1 quarterback hit. Sainer still had an interception. Still without Terry McLaurin to a quad injury. Troy Torrence, take it away. Lions, Commanders.
Yeah, I'll make this one pretty short and sweet. I think this Commanders team is throwing up the white flag on the season. I think the Lions are coming off a loss. Lions up a loss at, Lions off a loss. Now I'm pulling this from my old sheet where I bet on them against the Bucs where they were coming off a loss, and I said that they won 11 in a row. We'll make it 12 in a row because they won that game and covered for us. And I think it's safe to say the Lions win this game. The question is by how much. And there's other profiles I could sing to the high heavens about how often the road team wins and covers, even in spite of the line moving towards the home team, which is pretty crazy to me. But that's what the market history has how it's played out. Lions got beat by Flores, who exploited Jahmyr Gibbs in the pass rush. His inability to pass block, 7 pressures, the most by any single running back this season. Unfortunately, the Commanders don't have Flores calling the defense. They got Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn, in my opinion, if he's not the worst defensive coordinator, he's bottom 5. Every time he comes out with a defensive set, the writing's on the wall. It's very easy to determine what defense you're getting when you're going against Dan Quinn's defense. Every single down, you're likely almost 80% of the time you're going to get single high coverage, single high structure with a cover 1 or cover 3. It makes it super easy to play against. So now how do we decide between cover 1 and cover 3? Let's just send the guy in motion. Boom. Now we know. Are we getting cover 3 or cover 1? And they want to play press man coverage with Lattimore, Amos, Jones, and Sanders still. No wonder this defense has been horrendous. No wonder. I'm learning that it's not as much the personnel. It's the guy calling the plays, putting these guys in terrible positions over and over again. And the Commanders' offense, it has its bright spots, but I'm going to be honest. Like, Jaden Daniels and Scary Terry out of the equation, it doesn't look good. I feel like the ceiling just gets a lot lower with those 2 guys out. I think Mariota's been kind of better than Daniels so far this season, but the ceiling definitely gets reduced with him out of the game. And we watched this guy try to make big plays against quality teams in big moments, and he can't do it, Mariota. So I'm just playing this one on the money line with the Ravens. Talked about it earlier. Off 12 straight losses, I can't see this Lions team dropping a game on a road like this. And the defense is underrated. If I go back to my Week 9 notes, they played just fine versus this style of offense. So, I like the Lions to win. I'm not going to be laying them. I have shorter favorites between 3.5 that I love that I could just pair with these teams, reduce the juice down. And I think it's a great spot to do so.
Nick's right about Lions with the Eagles on deck. So you have no interest trying to take the Lions by double digits here, an angry Lion squad?
Not so much. not so much, just because I'm so much more confident and love the prices on other games more. My sample's much stronger in those range for the market history, and my conviction on the matchups are much better as well. I have my doubts with this Lions offense this season, especially with Sewell being out.
And we don't have that confirmed at this point.
We don't have it confirmed, but I feel like PFF has been pretty straightforward when a guy's in or out of the lineup. Now, they did lead me wrong with Lamar Jackson recently, but last I checked, I thought I seen Penei Sewell out at left tackle for the Lions.
So I was using
that is true. Decker's in at left tackle. Oh no, Penny's in.
Yeah, I was using two sites that were telling me that, he's listed as questionable with the lower body, but with Mahogany out, with all these out, it is a lower body injury though. I know Spenny was saying it was the eye poke. It's the eye poke. I think he got past. So then Skipper came in as well. They were a mess. I think it's important to probably figure that out. And it'll be Tristan Colin that they think will be replacing him if he's out. Okay, there we go. That is Lions Commanders. I guess the Lions could be a piece with the Rams if you wanted to add a little bit to it. I mean, it's pretty expensive money line addition.
I ended up doing Rams and Ravens, just going with my two top and getting plus 123. We could talk about it when we wrap it up.
And we're almost there. Let's talk about the big Sunday night football game right here on Pub Sports Radio. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Are we rewinding 4 weeks here, Jimmy? Are we going to rewind 4 or 5 weeks to when Alt was out? Is that what we're about to do right now? I'm going to throw up if that's what we're doing.
No, we're not at this point. But I need Mekhi Becton in.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're going to get that. There's a lot going on in this one. Pittsburgh Steelers 5-3, 2-1 on the road. LA Chargers 6-3, 3-2 at home at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Line history wise, it's a 3 or a 2.5. It depends what you want juiced. If you want Pittsburgh plus 3, it's juiced, but not everywhere. There are books here that have a flat 3 at minus 108. The books, everyone's handling this game a little bit differently. If you want a juiced 2.5 on the Chargers, you can get that minus 120, minus 125. It did open up at 3. Let's take a look at what it did here with the look ahead. The look ahead was 4.5. It reemerges as a flat 3. And then the juice doesn't move really until yesterday at 12, a little after 12 p.m. There was a 10-cent move, and then they moved it to the 2.5. At first, the Chargers minus 2.5 was minus 120. Then it moved 5 cents, minus 125. The move from the reemergence is just based on Joe Alt and how important he is to everything that the Chargers do offensively. The look ahead total was 46.5. Reemerged Sunday night, 45.5. Dropped down to 44.5. Came back up to 45. And when we get to the cash flow here, 52% of the tickets and 61% of the cash is on the Pittsburgh Steelers. 93% of tickets, 94% of cash on the over, which is shocking, absolutely shocking here. And my pops has asked me to throw $200 on the Steelers money line and $200 on the Steelers plus 3 for him. And I've not sent it in. And I may. I just think that the immediate red flag is he's buying the Steelers high, and which means he's dealing with the recency bias. And so, I think that's a red flag. I would like to get to the Chargers, but obviously there's concerns with Alt out. Let's talk about the Steelers first. 15th ranked passing offense, 25th ranked rushing offense. Red zone offense being pretty strong, ranked 7th, scoring touchdowns 68% of the time. Third down offense, 18th. They convert 38.2% of the time. As I said, this defensive profile is similar to the Falcons. It's not that good, except for the pass rush that's ranked 4th. The pass defense ranked 19th, rush defense ranked 21st, third down defense ranked 24th. I mean, if you look at those 3 categories, this is a bottom third defense. Now, their red zone defense is strong. This is a veteran group, and they have a pass rush. You put those two together, and then so you have a red zone defense that's strong and a pass rush strong. 7th ranked red zone defense, 4th ranked pass rush. Coming off a 27-20 victory at home over the Colts, of which Troy Torrence perfectly predicted and then got to watch live, which is pretty cool. Steelers were outgained 368-225, but the highest paid defense in the league for 6 turnovers. Aaron Rodgers was 25-35 for 23 yards, touchdown, no interceptions. Calvin Austin had 5 receptions for 56 yards. The rush attack did nothing. 38 yards on 23 carries. Steelers finished 4 of 12 on third down, went 3 of 6 in the red zone. Pass rush was excellent. 5 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Held the Colts to 6 of 14. Did allow them to go 5 of 5 on 4th down. Defense got interceptions from Peyton Wilson, Jack Sawyer, and Joey Porter Jr. They were celebrating the 2005 team, which you must have seen, and Porter's dad there pumping everybody up. That's a cool story. The Steelers played without 3 of their top 4 safeties on the depth chart because of injuries, but Kyle Duggar, acquired in a trade with New England on Thursday, started 3 days after being picked up and finished with 4 tackles and played good. Isaac Sumalo aggravated a pectoral injury in the second half, did not return. I'm not sure if he'll be in the lineup, and they probably want him there. The safeties that are out, Jabril Peppers and Chuck Clark, it's doesn't hurt as much with Kyle Duggar in the lineup, but also Cole Holcomb inactive and listed as questionable. Let's talk about the LA Chargers here. Ski Prophet says, how good is Steelers D-line? Because Chargers O-line is about to be garbage. That is the $1 million question. That's the puzzle to figure out this football game is can the Chargers put together an offensive line that can hold up? And my thought is I need Mekhi Becton out there. The Chargers passing offense ranked 4th, rushing offense ranked 1st, but we know that that's not the case unless the great Joe Alt is there. We watched how quickly he transformed everything. The passes weren't getting tipped at the line of scrimmage. They were just a completely different football team. Red zone offense 26th. It's been a problem. Third down offense has been strong all year, converting 49.2% of the time. Pass defense ranked 4th. Rush defense ranked 13th. There's a good defense. Red zone defense ranked 4th. They allow touchdowns just 48.3% of the time. Third down defense 8th. They allow conversions 35.8% of the time. And this pass rush is 21st. WY says, can the Steelers defend the Chargers wide receivers? That's his big question. Aaron Gaza says, sell high on the Steelers. Doesn't look good, but Chargers are the spot here. And great to see Jacqueline rolling with us. Great to see you, Jacqueline. The Chargers come in off that very costly 27-20 victory at Tennessee. Joe Alt, high right ankle sprain that requires season-ending surgery. Noise canceled score was 25-13 Chargers. They outgained the Titans 343-206. Herbert was 19 of 29 for 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. And he also led the rushing attack with 9 carries for 57 yards. And Joe Alt got hurt in the first quarter. And then what happened? Tennessee Titans sacked Herbert 6 times. Jarrett Patterson and Kamani Vidal, this certainly didn't look like number 1 rushing offense after Alt left. 21 carries for 74 yards. Not terrible. Oronde Gadsden led receivers with 5 catches for 68 yards. They certainly have weapons. Offense was 7 of 13 on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone. The defense held the Titans to just 10 first downs and 1 of 9 on third down. Held the Titans to 0 and 2 in the red zone. The pass rush is looking much better and healthier. They're better than that 21st rank, clearly. They had 4 sacks, 5 quarterback hits, and that OA trade is just continuing to provide for them. 2 of the 4 sacks was by Odafe. Bobby Hart, Chargers right tackle, hurt his groin. He's listed as questionable. I've already talked about Mekhi Becton. So here is it. They acquired Trevor Penning from the New Orleans Saints. So that's going to help. We need to study Penning and go over it. Maybe you could take a look at that right now, Troy, what Trevor Penning's PFF numbers are. What kind of addition he is going to be to this offensive line, because it's a crucial move that they made, picking up Trevor Penning. Defensive lineman Jamari Caldwell was hurt on the goal line stand. They also sent Jazir Taylor to the Jets for a conditional 7th round pick. That was a surprise because Tarheeb still is hurt. Elijah Molden is playing hurt. So that was a surprise that Taylor was traded to the Jets. So can we believe that Trevor Penning and Mekhi Becton comes back and Trevor Penning is on the offensive line and they're still can hold the fort together? Troy Torrence, take it away.
Yeah, I think Trevor Penning. I mean, he's definitely going to be another body, but I'm not too bullish on this guy. I mean, he's below league average, that's for sure. He's allowed 3 sacks, 15 pressures on the season. He's got a 95.9 efficiency rating. His offensive grade is a 50.4, but that is amongst on a pretty bad offensive line in the first place. So sometimes your counterparts on the offensive line drag your numbers down with it, especially when you don't have good tackles. Tackle position is so important for a good, stable offensive line. I moved on this Chargers -3, and I texted you're probably like, look at this idiot moving on the Chargers with Joey Alt out. But I texted Jimmy on Sunday night. I was like, I'm moving on the Chargers -3, -105. As long as Alt is in, I'm good with it. He didn't respond to break my soul and my will and say Joe Alt is out for the season. This is when I was in Pittsburgh still, so I haven't watched the games. I was not tuned in to what was going on league-wide in the NFL. I just thought the 3, that magic number 3, I like to bet the favorites in those situations. I thought it could tick up to 3.5, but obviously it wouldn't do that if Alt is out. So I definitely would have waited on that. I obviously regret it, but I don't regret the closing market, which I'll touch on at the very end. But, in the fourth quarter of the Steelers game, I'm up in the stands, fans high-fiving each other, and the defense is back. We're back, baby. And it's funny, the whole time I was there, man, I was talking to a bunch of all the talk was about how good I've been doing in the NFL. That the whole reason I was there is because I gave out a bunch of winners to these guys, and they invited me out. I go out there, we watch the game, and so all the time, all their guys, all their homies, the guys in the parking lot that were tailgating were like, talking about sports betting, and I'm like, Steelers today. No one believed it. We're like, the defense is horrible. And I'm sitting there, the only guy in the entire fucking tailgate making a case for the Steelers defense to perform. And then I'm sitting in the nosebleeds, and everyone's high five. The defense is back. The defense is back. It's just so funny, man. It's just the epitome of this exact situation. 2 weeks in a row, the entire public was aping in on this Steelers team. They got beat by the Bengals, then they get beat by the Packers. Then the entire world wants to fade them against the Colts. And I think we're about to see the exact opposite. The entire world is going to be back in on the Steelers, back in on Tomlin as a dog. And I think the setup situationally, it still adds up. Joe Alt or not, I think situationally it still makes sense to back this Chargers team from that aspect. And from that angle, I do stand by my bet. 71% of bets, 73% of cash on the Steelers team per Action Network. The Steelers markets I've been very successful in betting into these markets, and the Steelers took advantage of a Colts in a terrible pants down type of spot on the road, off a bunch of wins, outdoors for the first time, on grass for the first time. And now they took advantage of the Colts. Now they go on the road. They're away from their home crowd, even though it probably will be more of a home environment for the Steelers. It's not going to be as strong as in Acrisure Stadium, but I believe in this Chargers defense. I talk about it every week. Another team that wants to play cover 4. They have all the aspects of a good defense that I like to look for. They're above average at every single level, from the D line to the linebackers to the secondary, and I think Harbaugh knows how to put him in good position, and I believe in Herbert. I know the Steelers defense is getting better. It's not as bad as what we've seen in weeks 1 through 8. It's not as good as what we've seen against the Colts last week. It's somewhere in the middle, but I'm going to say it's much closer towards where the sample size is bigger. So once again, I'm fading the public in the Steelers market 4 consecutive weeks now. I've been laughing to the bank. Hopefully I'm laughing at the end of this one. I see no reason to zag back and take the Steelers. So, yeah, I'm fading the market, taking the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Ski's right. Mekhi Becton's look terrible, but when you have a bias, and I deal with it in so many different sports with bias, and I have a bias for Mekhi Becton being good, I try to make excuses for him. That hand injury. How are you an offensive lineman if you can't, not hold, but how important it is to not have a hand injury. But those are terrible numbers. 80th out of 85 qualifying guards this season. And Luke Burrow says, how about unders in this one? The one thing is that you are focusing on here is the Chargers defense. And I've been saying for 2 years, the Steelers defense is not as good as the numbers indicate, or what we remember.
Or what you see on paper, too, because just looking on paper, you're like, wow, look at this defense. And I think someone, I forgot who it was, made a really good point about Ramsey moving to safety. Massive, massive move, and he made a huge impact. And I was saying that Lattimore with the Commanders should be doing the same thing. You know, these guys as they age, I mean, sometimes that move is necessary. It's harder. It's harder to plaster on wide receivers when you're getting older. Step slower.
Yeah, I honestly, when my pops was fading the Chargers, he was writing really long, thoughtful breakdowns here. And I thought that there was a very short, it was Alt's out, offensive line's going to be a mess again. It was just almost reactionary. It wasn't, oh, this is happening, this, watch when this happens, see that. It was just like he just watched the Steelers take out the Colts. It was all, based on biases, I felt. So we'll see. Jared TG says Becton was good in the Eagle system, but everywhere else he's been bad. Eye test wise, at least. Not sure if grading would back him up being good in Philly. Well, I'm not sure what to do. It's a great sell the Steelers high, buy the Chargers low. I mean, you heard Mr. Sean Higgs lamenting how he crushed the market move on the Chargers. But if Joe Alt doesn't get hurt, they cover. They win by 2 scores. Alt gets hurt. Herbert gets sacked 6 times. It's almost impressive that they still won on the road by a touchdown. And also, again, when Alt gets hurt in the first quarter of a game, it's panic. Oh, we got to do this. We got to do that. Now they've kind of gone through before, but now they have a whole week to set up. They make a trade to try to fortify. I'm close to joining you on the Chargers, as well as not sending my pops' action in. I just need a little bit more time on it.
So he went in, or Alt went down in the first quarter.
In the first quarter.
I mean, they were chasing fucking 14 points at that time.
And Herbert had already thrown the pick 6. So, all right, let's roll on.
But they need a score to ice the game in the fourth quarter. 15 plays, 99 yards. I know it's the Titans. So
the Titans have some okay defensive numbers. I want to fade the Steelers with you, Troy. Troy on the Chargers -3, -105 or 110?
-105.
Yeah, I think -105. Okay. That is, and I don't really want to mess with this total. Do you have interest in messing with this total?
No, I don't. I made a note. I spent too much time the past few days, I would say dating back to last week, studying these 44.5 to 46.5 between those two key numbers. And just how ridiculous of amount they go over relative to the rest of the sample. Like, I don't want to try to get under these totals here in this range.
All right, let's roll on to our Monday nighter. We have a beauty Sunday nighter. I cannot wait for it. And we have a beauty Monday nighter. Good God, we deserve this. 8:15 p.m. Eastern. The Philadelphia Eagles 6-2, 3-1 on the road. The Green Bay Packers 5-2-1, 3-1 at home. We're at Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and it's 26 Fahrenheit. Troy, it's happened. Winter is coming. 26 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 7 mile per hour. It's not snowing, but it is cold, and I love it. Well, I like watching it. This total is a 44.5. The look at it was 45, opened up at 44.5, and it hasn't moved. It's moved with juice, but it's come right back to where it began. Then we have the spread here for our Monday nighter. Can't wait for this live stream. The Packers opened up at the look ahead, I should say, was -3. Then it reappears on Sunday night at 2.5. When it was 2.5 initially, Philadelphia was +105. Now the 2.5 for Philly's -107. We get to the cash flow here for our Monday nighter. 76% of the tickets are on Philadelphia, and 60% of the cash. So there are bigger bets coming in on the Packers, but we don't see flat threes anywhere. 88% of tickets on the over and 94% of cash on the over. We'll start with the Eagles. Now, they made some moves here, and we'll go over all of them because they're coming in off their bye week. So they've had a chance to make trades and begin to assimilate. The Eagles passing offense ranked 9th, rushing offense 11th. This is the number 1 red zone offense in the league. I mean, they're scoring 85% of the time. That's spectacular. That's something you want to have in your corner. But their third down offense ranked 28th. They only convert 33.3% of the time. 12th ranked pass defense. 7th ranked rush defense. Their red zone defense 46.2% of the time. Their line touchdowns very strong. Their third down defense isn't. They're ranked 26th. They allow conversions 42.9% of the time. And they have a 13th ranked pass rush. That's something that we expect to get better and better with the fortifying that we'll be discussing here. Coming off their bye week, last seen that 38-20 victory at the Giants. So they bring in Michael Carter Jr. from the Jets. They traded John Mechie in 2027 6th-round pick. The Philly also received a 2027 7th-round pick. So they can move Cooper DeJean outside opposite Quinion Mitchell. That was the whole idea for that. Now, if they want to keep DeJean in the slot, then they just use Carter as a depth piece. It's not entirely clear what they're going to do. They bring in Jair Alexander. He's looked terrible. They gave Baltimore a 6th-round pick, but Philly got Jair Alexander and a 2027 second-rounder. Then the big pickup was Jalen Phillips for a 3rd-round pick. So, I mean, pretty immediately, you'd say Jalen Phillips is their best pass rusher, but Nolan Smith is coming back. Brandon Graham has returned from his short retirement. So it seems like the pass rush is going to get much, much stronger here. And we go into the struggles on the ground. They didn't make much sense for whatever reason under Kevin Patullo. Barkley wasn't getting, he rushed for 2,005 yards and 13 touchdowns in 2024. So he finally broke through, got 150 yards on the ground, opened with that 65-yard touchdown. And Hurts is playing very well. He threw for 4 touchdowns, had the perfect passer rating the week before in that win at Minnesota. Threw for 4 touchdowns against the Giants. So since week 9, Hurts has thrown for 15 touchdowns and 1 interception. In the last 2 weeks, he's thrown for 505 yards, 7 touchdowns, and no interceptions. He's completed 79.1% of his passes. The red zone, they're incredible. Devonta Smith has been the guy. He had a career high 186 in week 7 against Minnesota. He's already caught for 833 yards through last year's pace. So he's thrown for 588 yards, but he's way ahead of last year's pace at 833 yards. Goddard has been a huge part of the red zone. 7 touchdowns on 30 catches. And then A.J. Brown is the question mark. He wasn't traded. He sat out against the Giants with a hamstring injury. I expect he's going to be all in. Now, they need Cam Jurgens back. He didn't play against New York, their center, with a knee injury. I expect A.J. Brown comes back refreshed and all in. This team comes together for their run through the playoffs. Now, we have a buy low spot on the Green Bay Packers, which is a tricky thing to deal with. Passing offense ranked 8th, rushing offense 17th, red zone offense 11th, and their third down offense is the second best in the NFL, converting at 49.0%. They have the number 1 ranked pass defense in the NFL. I mean, Bryce Young threw for 102 yards, and they lost. Rush defense ranked 11th, pass rush ranked 5th, third down defense ranked 6th, the red zone defense 23rd. This is a very good defense. Packers coming off that ugly 16-13 home loss to the Panthers. Noise canceled score was 19-18 Packers. Packers outgained the Panthers 369-265. Jordan Love was 26 of 37 for 273 yards. No touchdowns in the pick. Dubs caught 7 for 91. Jacobs healthy now. That illness was sticking around him for a long time. Ran 17 times for 87 yards and a touchdown. Packers 9 of 16 on 3rd and 4th down, but 1 of 5 in the red zone. And Tucker Kraft with the knee injury in the 3rd quarter. A bad knee injury. And that's not all. They have a bunch of injuries that they are dealing with. This 5th-ranked pass rush could get pressure on Bryce. Despite the Panthers' beat-up offensive line, they got 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits. They allowed the Panthers to go 2 of 3 in the red zone. The Green Bay came in with 3 turnovers all year. Savion Williams had the red zone fumble. Then Trayvon Moore picked off Jordan Love. Matthew Golden with the shoulder injury. Guard Aaron Banks, who we think could be back here, should be back. Defensive lineman Colby Wooden with the shoulder injury. All three are listed as questionable. Cornerback Nate Hobbs, he's going to be out for at least 2 games with a grade 1 MCL strain. Lucas Van Ness inactive. He's listed as questionable, as is Dontavian Wicks. Take it away, Troy. Our Monday nighter, Eagles-Packers.
This is probably the most tough game for me on this entire card. Both teams are in backable situations, in my opinion. You got the Packers off an outright loss as double-digit favorite. They lose Tucker Kraft, who's been an essential piece of their offense. I mean, Love had an 80% completion rate throwing his way, and that's over 10 yards per attempt. And he was massive part of the goal line scheme. Tucker Kraft being out is a big deal. And you look at the Eagles off a bye week after 2 great performances offensively, and the defense is getting healthier. I should say they have more depth now than they have had all season long. And finally, we got to see this rushing offense run the ball down the Giants' throat in week 8 with Saquon and Tank for over 10 yards per carry on 23 attempts. The week before that, we've seen an air raid offense against the Vikings in week 7. Jalen Hurts, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, 158 passer rating. It's showing me that our analysis cap on the Eagles has been right. The offense is fully capable of attacking defenses on the ground or through the air. Now, we want to see more consistency or more examples of the run game, but I think the Eagles offense will be just fine. Actually, I have a bias towards both these offenses because Jordan Love is, I think he's second in EPA per dropback, even after the Panthers game. And the Packers were just in a spot that they clearly got caught looking ahead to this game, which is usually buy on after a loss. But they draw this Eagles team off a bye, who's finally found some form offensively. The game, like in my opinion, is going to be won in the trenches. Can the Packers stop the Eagles' rushing attack? And if not, the Eagles probably win this game. If they do stop the rushing attack, then it comes down to the Packers being able to put pressure on Hurts. Can Parsons, Rashawn Gary win against Mailata and Lane Johnson with any type of consistency? I don't know if I can see it. The other variable in this game, which I think is very strong in favor of the Packers, is Hafley. I don't like Hurts for zone coverage, and we're going to see a ton of zone coverage in this game. So here's some Jalen Hurts numbers against zone coverage because he's destroyed man coverage. I talk about it all the time when the Eagles play these man coverage teams. But for zone defense, touchdown passes, all but one of his touchdown passes came against man coverage. His completion percentage drops from 72 to 65, yards per attempt from 8.2 to 5.9, EPA per dropback from plus 0.18 to minus 0.02. His QBR drops by more than 20 points. I think Hafley and his zone coverage concept is going to put Jalen Hurts in a bind. I think it's not as easy as just saying this is an Eagle spot. I do kind of agree that it looks like the bookies are trying to trap some money on the Eagles after the Packers taking a loss. Because here's what happens. I just talked about a very similar market move, right? Home favorites that closed -3 or -2.5 after a move towards the road team are 18-8 ATS, 20-7 straight up. I want the Eagles here. There's no doubt I want the Eagles, but I might be forced to bet the Packers.
What about the under? And, I moved as soon as the Micah Parsons trade happened, I moved on the under 10.5 wins, max bet. And I think my futures are, I don't want to talk too much about them because when you get too excited about them, it turns sour, but they're looking as strong, the strongest I've ever had, ever at this point. What do you think about the under?
This is just that total range I was just talking about. I mean, this market is very similar to the one we just discussed. And I just don't want to try to get under these totals between 44.5 and 46.5, even though the handicap would take you right there.
DG said he wanted the under too, but the number is disappointing. I really want the under. It's going to be cold, and this is two really good football teams. It's just this is, but maybe we just wait to get it live. So Dougie Wise says the Packers are a proud franchise. They win this game off that horrific Panthers loss, and that's where I don't remember the last time you faded the Eagles.
I don't know if I have faded the Eagles, but one time the past 3 seasons. But I'm certainly considering it here. The big thing keeping me off is the bye week and how teams coming off the bye this season. Now, I look back the past 3 seasons, it hasn't been the case. But this season, teams off a bye are destroying.
Well, except for the Detroit Lions.
Except for the Lions.
Yeah. Which stuck in my head so much. Then I'm like, but I want to back teams off of a bye who have work to do. Teams coming off of a bye feeling great about themselves. It felt like the Lions were just feeling too good about themselves. The Eagles have a lot to figure out just because of all the changes that they've made. Wow. Gorky is on the Eagles money line. The Goracle here. This is going to take more work. But at this point, and I want the under, but I don't know if I can. I guess you're sort of scaring me off the under. I want the under. This is a 23-20 final score to me. I mean, these are just two very good football teams that are going to pummel each other. I guess the issue is the red zone offense for the Eagles at 85%, which is ridiculous. The red zone offense for the Packers, 11th at 62.9%. And neither red zone defense is very good. What do you touch? Does the 26 Fahrenheit do anything here?
Yeah, it makes me want to lean towards the under. It definitely makes you want to lean towards the under, and even probably more so the first half under. Second half, they come out. It's probably a good case for a live betting situation. The live bet stream should be fun because we can move on first half unders and bet the over at half live.
And what is the reasoning behind that? Your body's just more comfortable with it when you come back out after halftime?
I noticed when I played in the freezing. No, this isn't the same case. I'm thinking of the freezing games when I went up to Helena, Montana, and played in sub-zero. The grass is literally frozen. You come back out at the second half, you're like, oh yeah, like you're more accustomed to it. Essentially, it is the first game all season, so it still could be a thing. But I do think, and I also think it leads to more conservative play calling. That ball gets rock hard. It's much harder to catch. It's much harder to grip as a quarterback.
Yeah, Vincent Hawkins talking about that first half under. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. That is our show for Week 10, Tuesday, November 4th. 14 games capped. Troy coming off an 18-3 week. 2 weeks ago, it was I think 17-8 or so. But 3 weeks back, it was 17-2.
17-2.
So you've had a 17-2 week and an 18-3 week. There's some cappers that will go their whole life without one of those. I think me. I don't remember ever going 17-2 or 18-3. I think I'd be the one who would be raising my hand.
Well, I have a bunch of correlated spots too. So when I hit hard. It's just like in poker, man. You know, it's not about just how many sessions did I win over the course of the past year. It's when I won that I maximized my earnings.
Well, this going for 100 units in 1 unit betting, I mean, it's pretty exciting.
I know. I think it's so impressive what we're doing as a team, Jimmy. Like, I don't even want to be on the opposite side of you anymore because I think you're locked in just in the same manner that I am. But football's all I think about right now. It's going to be sad to see it go.
We don't need to talk like that, man. We're right in the thick of it, man. Right in the thick of it. Let's review action here for Week 10. Troy, take it away.
Yeah, so I got the Raiders plus 10. I'm seriously considering doing something crazy in that spot. People are going to look at me like I'm a jag off, and if I lose, everyone will point and laugh, and I'll lose a bunch of credibility, and I don't care because I know that if I move on the Raiders money line, that in the long run, it's going to return a certain percentage that I think it's a plus EV play. Falcons plus 6.5 overseas. I added the full game under 48.5. I love that angle. You killed that handicap. That's a savable. That's a savable breakdown, in my opinion. Then I loaded up on the Ravens. Ravens -3. Ravens double result. Ravens Lions moneyline parlay. Ravens Seahawks moneyline parlay. And one more to add to that is the Rams Ravens moneyline parlay at +123. That's the only one I haven't given out yet. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bets on the Ravens. This is the stallion. I love the fact we're getting to fade JJ McCarthy at home and buy this Ravens defense. Then I got the Browns money line -134. The Jets team total 18 under 18.5. I got the Bucks doubled up first half money line -134. Full game money line -140. Got the Rams -3. Got the Rams Bills money line parlay, and I got the Chargers -3. And I guarantee you I'll have action on this Monday night game. I just want to see this market come to fruition. What's going on here? I want to see what's really happening.
I'm going to be moving on overs in Raiders Broncos. It's warm. It's not windy. Broncos just played the best defense in the NFL, arguably. And the Raiders starting to feel better about themselves. And the Broncos defense is not as scary as, I think we have a bias on this Broncos defense. So I'm going to be moving on first half. I mean, as you guys know, I've been doubling up on all my totals, and it's really working. And there's two reasons why. One, I'll catch the first half and there'll be hijinks in the full game, but at least I go 50-50 instead of losing. But also, when you put 2 units on a total, you need conviction. And so I'm staying off more spots. So it's all working. So I'm going to be on first half over, full game over. I'm already on the first half under, full game under in the Berlin game, 24.5 and 48.5. And I may be adding the Falcons as well. So I'm going to decide that this evening. Then I want to study this Giants-Bears game a little bit more. I mean, clearly it's a sharp under, but I don't know. I don't need to follow or roll with stuff just because it's sharp. Bears in the under, I want to study a little bit longer. I'm not going to move on that tonight. I'm interested in the Dolphins plus the points against the Bills. I want to sit with that longer too. And then it is kind of predicated on what happens with that line move. But I want to fade the Bills after beating the Chiefs and feeling so good about themselves. The question is, are the Dolphins completely done? I like the fact that they've got some extra time to prepare. Your bullishness on the Ravens, is a lot of food for thought, and I will be thinking about it and figuring out what to do with it. The Browns-Jets game, Troy on the Browns and the Jets team total under. I had planned on being on unders in this game, but with the Jets getting rid of Sauce, which, it wasn't like he was in the lineup last week, but we watched the 39-38 game before the bye. But Quinnen Williams is a bit of a shock. I want to sit with that for a little bit longer. I'm interested in that under in the Patriots Buccaneers. I want more time on it. I'm certainly not moving on it now. But the Panthers, I feel I hate buying them high, but it's almost like I want to just cut the Panthers out of the equation and say, I want to fade the Saints before their bye week. I think that's going to be my focus here. Also, you get the Saints outside. So I think I'm going to hit that really hard, which makes me a little nervous. But that would be the Panthers double result and then unders, which might include Panthers bets as well. I want to sit with that for a little bit longer. I'm already on the first half under and full game under in Jacksonville, Houston. And I might add the no team to score 20 as a little bonus spot there. Might. Then I have interest in the Cardinals, keeping it within a touchdown with the Seahawks. Sort of selling the Seahawks somewhat high because I think we said all year the Commanders are bad football team. Took their under 9.5 wins with confidence. And then the Rams, I agree, it needs to be bet immediately. And then maybe I should be using the Rams money line with something, and I'll make that decision. Is that the Rams with the Lions money line or an alt line, with the Lions, bringing it down a little bit, like a teaser type situation? I'll study that. And then I'm not sending in my dad's action at this point on the Steelers, but I still can. So I'm still going to study that and study what this offensive line is going to look like. And then I think that first half under is right with Eagles-Packers.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I really believe that to be the move in that game.
Yeah, so I'll bet that. It might also be fun for the SGP on the Monday nighter to have no score for the first 5 minutes. That's another thing that I will be looking at as well. It's a part of Dennis Garcia's used that to his. He's used it wonderfully with his SGPs, and I think I might add that in that one.
I seen something on under 1.5 first half touchdowns. That was plus money. It's calling my name a little bit. It was like plus 160. I was like,
All right. Yes, Patriots are fighting for this. I feel you, Peanut. No, there's still lots of work to do. This is so important for us as cappers to get to hear your thoughts, everybody in the chat, hear your angles, hear your trends, and work with you guys each Tuesday night. You're a huge reason for our success, and we thank you guys enormously for supporting us each week and inspiring us and giving us energy to battle. You do that with aplomb, and we thank you very, very much. Dougie Wise, We Do, Peanut, Man, Bear, Pig, Susie Easton, Jared TG, Top Set. It's a great group. Dougie Wise, thank you guys. Digging with great stuff. Vincent Hawkins, AM, Sancho, Luke Burrow. Thank you guys. Gorky, all of you guys. Sky Dragon, Slatsy, Spenny Penny Bombs. Thank you guys. Sancho, as always. Thank you for Aaron Gaza. Thank you guys. G, thank you. Action Jackson. All of you guys, thank you so much. Thank you to our producer, Jose Bouquet, who works tirelessly behind the scenes. He is off, leaves tomorrow to Miami for a bachelor party. A richly deserved trip for a man who works so hard behind the scenes. So thank you for all that you do, Jose, and I hope you have a great trip tomorrow. I know that you'll be rocking with me tomorrow for Betting with the Bag, so we'll get a chance to say goodbye. Then, Troy, what you are doing here is unprecedented. I've never seen anyone do it in football. I've seen, I've never, let me just leave it. With one unit plays, one unit action, I've never seen anyone, I've only seen one person in 10 years with one unit plays hit 100 units individually, and that was in baseball. I saw one person do that, one person hit 100 units. That's the only thing I've ever seen. And now, when people are 5 units and 10 units, I don't count that. I just count one unit, and what you're doing is absolutely incredible and inspiring, and I can't wait to attack it. So keep up the great work. Thank you for rocking with us, Troy. And can you please bless our action and lead us into the future, my man?
What we're doing here at Pub Sports Radio on this show, it's a team effort. I really believe that. Everybody in the chat, all they do is inspire me to work harder. I never worked so hard in my entire life than in this exact season. And I'm about to keel over right now because I've been up for 40 of the past 48 hours, and I've only been looking at the NFL. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow, and the first thing I'm going to do is open my phone and check where the lines have moved. I love the NFL, and I talked about it earlier. You get 7 days, you get a full week to plan it out, to see how the lines move, to plan for the line movement. It's just there's just nothing better than it, man. Let's harness what we got here. We got 8 weeks left of the regular season. We got some playoffs. My action will probably be reduced significantly, but I have never been more confident in the direction we're moving as a show and as a channel. We might not have all the glitz, glamour, and graphics, but there's one thing that's fucking for sure, is we're going to come and bring you relevant information week in and week out. And we're going to grind out these wins. There's a reason I'm here, Jimmy. It's because I believe in the chat. It's because I believe in you. It's because there's really nobody else better than Pub Sports Radio in this entire industry. I truly mean that from the bottom of my heart. There's only one thing left to do this week, man. Let's go out there and let's shade those bookmakers.